All right, here to wrap up the week, Chicago Hockey Radio, brought to you by the Alithio Network. Lee Grossman, Justin Lynch, Tassos Kirkos, Raven Gasser producing today. There was a Hawks game last night. There was a controversial 10-minute misconduct to one Connor Bedard. Hawks play tomorrow against the Vancouver Canucks. We have Friday questions today. A couple of crazy stories that I've been wanting to share for a little bit. There was one in the American Hockey League yesterday we'll talk about in the NHL hour, or the AHL hour.
AHL hour.
And also one from Illinois high school that I do want to get to. And did you see my text about that? Don't spoil it, but did you see the text about it? I know Justin did because he reacted to it.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
No,
I saw it.
You didn't? Okay. And you don't read the group chat. All right. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel if you are new here. Hit the thumbs up. I don't say that enough, but hit the thumbs up. If you're watching on YouTube right now, hit the thumbs up on this stream. Follow us on Instagram at Chicago Hockey Radio. And if you are a audio listener or if you're a video listener, head over to our Spotify page, leave a 5-star rating and review. Head over to our Apple Podcast page, leave a 5-star rating and review. All right, fellas, we did the live stream last night. Thanks to everybody that hopped in with us, hung out with us for a late one, CHR After Dark. And then we did a very, very late post game that went 40 minutes long. Oh, God. But how are we feeling, everybody? Justin, how you feeling?
Tired. Yeah, no, definitely a long game last night. Definitely didn't go the way we probably wanted it to. I think we had high expectations going into it, and it did not meet expectations. And if anything, it left definitely a bitter taste in my mouth. I don't think I got a lot of sleep last night because I was just so pissed off with the way that game ended and the whole Bedsy misconduct thing. It's like, man, you go after my boy, man, you better face the consequences, the repercussions. Nobody goes after my boy. And I was pretty wired up last night after that game. It took me a while to kind of calm myself down and fall asleep here. But it's a new day, The sun rises here.
You know who slept like a baby last night?
Who's that?
Chris Rooney.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he slept like a baby. Well, he is a baby, but, we'll get into it. So, but yeah, didn't really love. I'm sure we talked about the post game. If you watched that, that was probably the most pissed off I've been in a post game this year. Probably the most emotional I've been. Maybe all the thoughts weren't all there, but we've taken time to let it all simmer, let it process, and now we're here to break it all down for all you wonderful people.
Yeah, I agree with you though. Just like an anticipated matchup like that for us, I feel like one of the more anticipated matchup we've had all season, and for it to just end like that, it's just annoying because as you said last night, like there's an asterisk around it. It's like, okay, Bedard wasn't on the ice for the last 10 minutes. Like you can argue he didn't do much in the first period, but come on, we were right there. We didn't get that penalty called, and then he goes to the box for 10 minutes. So just a bummer of a way to end what was already a pretty frustrating game for Blackhawks fans' perspective. So
it was an anticlimactic conclusion for sure to a game that, I think we all expected to be a bit more than it was. So, but that's the way it is, right? We'll have plenty more matchups with the Celebrini Sharks in the future. So plenty of time to, wipe the stink from that one.
At least the weather's nice out here today.
Yeah. The weather is getting nicer. Hopefully this isn't full spring, right? No, there's like one more winter rush of snow before the real spring shows up. But we'll see. Even over here in Ohio, it's pretty nice as well. So that's one good thing. At least the weather's nice. Hopefully we'll see more from this team here. That'll be nice too.
I did not check the weather this morning, and I wore sweatpants and a winter coat, and I stepped outside, and I was like, oh. This is
gotta get the shorts back out there, Mr. Grousman.
Yeah. I know. I need
the t-shirts. The weather's back. Yeah,
absolutely. Start showing off the calves on the podcast.
Yeah, I gotta leave your parka at home, as Seth Jones has.
that was a good pull. So the start of the game, I think, is kind of where we should probably start with this show right here today.
Yeah, chronologically makes sense too.
Yes, it does.
I know you guys don't like doing that, but
unless you guys wanted to start with the misconduct talk.
No, we'll get to that.
Yeah. Just the start was really poor, I thought. Yeah. San Jose came out buzzing. Will Smith rips one into the back of the net. Wenberg sets up Colin Graff for another one. Left alone, all alone in the high slot. just looked like there was a lot more speed to their game, a lot more intensity, a lot more urgency to their game, and the Blackhawks just, for some reason, couldn't muster up anything with 2 days rest. And they've been in San Jose, and it just, I don't know, it didn't look good to me.
Yeah, the Sharks are definitely ready to go. Like they treat this like this was like a playoff game. This was their Stanley Cup. We referenced that in the show. This is our Stanley Cup, but they were playing like it was their Stanley Cup. I mean, Will Smith was just slapping the shit out of us to start that game. I mean, he and Celebrini were skating circles around us. But we did wake up. But it's like at that point it was a little too late. We painted us in this corner here, and it's like we could blame the line combos all we want, and it's like that definitely was a factor. But it's like, look, if they performed well against the Avalanche, there was no reason for a couple days rest against a bad Sharks team if they shouldn't have been able to start the game on time. But this has kind of been a theme all season. Nothing really new here, so it wasn't really shocking to see it at the same time, but definitely disappointing.
Yeah, I think I don't know, man. It is a lot to do with the line combos. It also just wasn't just the forward groups. Like the defensive pairs were changed around a bit too, and so it's I just question why that's happening and why guys are getting moved around when we've been playing the best hockey we've played probably all year long. It's just frustrating to see. But yeah, as we mentioned on the post game last night, like it's not just that. Like even if you're not on the best line combo, it just didn't feel like the effort or the energy was there in the first period. They came out sleepy and sluggish, and I know that's partially on the coach, but players have to take accountability too. Like you can't put up a performance like that in the first period. And quite frankly, they were lucky. We were lucky to get out of that.
Oh my God.
We were lucky to get out of that first period only down 2 goals, to be honest with you.
Against the San Jose Sharks, man, that tells you a lot right there. But you're not totally wrong. I mean, it seemed pretty clear they just weren't ready to go. I know it's a cliche, it's used a lot, but like watch the game, it seemed kind of obvious that was the case, to be honest with you. So, but look, a lot of that is on the coach, though. I mean, it's like we gotta have a coach who doesn't tolerate that shit, right? And gets these players in line, ready to start these games. Like when it happens enough times, it's not just a player's thing. There's definitely more reasons for that, right? Yeah.
I also feel, there was a lot of San Jose and their players, they dump and chase is like a pretty standard play in hockey. It's a pretty standard thing to do. You watch the Florida Panthers, they dump and then they chase it as if their lives depended on it. Yeah. San Jose just like they would dump the puck and it didn't really matter if it was Macklin Celebrini or Ty Dellandrea or whoever, but they get in on the forecheck. And the Hawks, man, were just soft. Like they were soft on the forecheck, soft in the corners, like just no urgency, no desire, no will to like dig for pucks that, are 50-50 pucks, right? Like any sort of puck is a 50-50 puck until you don't put in the effort. And then it becomes, a 90-10 puck. And your only hope is that the guy who you let go get it fumbles it and turns it over to you or coughs it out. You know what I'm saying? Like just zero sense of urgency. If you're not going to be able to carry it over the line with confidence, and look, like we've been watching these Hawks for a while now. There's not very many players on the team outside of Frank Nazar to me right now that I trust carrying the puck into the offensive zone and actually not losing it at the blue line. You get what I'm saying here a little bit?
Oh, yeah. No, Nazar can drive his line. He can drive the play. And it's like, that's why, he should be playing with a guy like Connor Bedard. And Sorensen eventually realized that about halfway through the game. He probably should have known that before the game started. And then when he paired them together, like that line was cooking. Like they were really starting to, get something going there. But it's like, we can't be figuring this out during the game. Like this should have been something. The combos should have been the way they were, like the second, third period when the game started. It doesn't take a genius. It doesn't take a podcaster to figure that out. It was pretty clear. And again, that's another mark of the coaching right there. This constant doing things in a blender situation. It's very Richardson-esque. And if anything, I think Sorensen, I think he's worse than Richardson, which really says a lot. I mean, that's how bad of a coach he is. It just tells you how much the Hawks got to get the situation figured out in the offseason. There's no excuses for Kyle this time. He's got to nail the right coach. Yeah.
Not to do identity talk, but
oh God, no.
I don't know. When I watched this team, like last night, it felt like the game plan was to like dump and chase and to be aggressive on the forecheck, but that's not the case every single night. Like I feel like is Frank Nazar the only player that's capable of carrying the puck into the zone, or are there others, and do they maybe just like go away from that
Not
game
utilize
plan?
them?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
I think they just need to have like a consistent game plan where it's like, hey, we're a team that's going to hold on to the puck and try to carry it into the zone, or we're going to be a team that's going to dump and chase and get aggressive on the forecheck. And I don't think we have the personnel to succeed at dumping and chasing.
Well, you don't have the personnel to succeed at carrying the. Yeah,
I
okay.
think we're-
Ilya Mikheyev is going to really.
But I don't think that's the way you got to play against the San Jose Sharks. Colorado Avalanche, fair, but this is the Sharks we're talking about. That defense,
Yeah,
I think you could be a little more aggressive offensively.
But
Yeah.
this is like
But you do
an
have
even
guys.
matchup.
You do have guys all across the lineup that can do like you jokingly say Ilya Mikheyev, but that dude's fast as hell. Like let him.
He's
try
fast as
it.
fuck, boy.
And
He's
also,
fast.
Donato's been pretty good at that all year. I feel like Donato's been pretty solid with zone entries all year long. You've got Bedard and Nazar on the first line, and then you got Reichel on the fourth line that can do it. Like, you've got guys that can do it.
You just don't use them. Yeah.
Reichel can't do it.
I don't think that the message is that they should even do it. You know, like I think the message is, hey, we're dumping the puck in and getting aggressive. But it's like when you got Veleno, Reichel, and Bertuzzi out there, I don't trust those guys to like be super aggressive on the forecheck and be a dog on a bone when they don't have the puck. Like, I just feel like they need to have a consistent game plan there, and they just don't have it.
Yeah, and you referenced the Hawks being soft last night. I would agree with that, but I don't think they were as soft as Chris Rooney. But that's a topic for another time.
I don't know, man. They were pretty soft. They were pretty soft last night. Like it. Just,
Maybe that rubbed off on Chris. I don't know.
It just If a team is going to come out and play that hard against you, you have to have some sort of bite back. You have to have some sort of pushback, some desire, some strength in the corners. Like it just was soft, man. Like it, and I know like whatever you guys can say Celebrini this and Celebrini that. That kid plays hard along the wall. That kid plays really.
He does.
Really,
he's good at the puck battles. I'll give him credit for that.
Like the kid is really, really tough against the wall, and he's not gonna come up with every single puck because he's a smaller 18-year-old kid, but at least he's engaged physically enough to go try and make the play. And they just don't have that. Like the Hawks just don't have that right now, that sort of mentality. And it bit them in the rear end. Like
you got to be relentless on the puck. And I think it's one of those things that they're capable of doing. They just all have to buy in and put in the effort to play that way. And I think when you've got guys like Colton Dock and Frank Nazar and Landon Slaggert who do try their best to do it, you just need everybody else around them also competing at that level.
Mm-hmm. I do think we eventually saw that pushback, to be fair, but it's it was a little too late there. It's got to be from the get-go, right? I feel like that's been a theme all season where it's we're playing catch-up in these games. And it's you're not going to win a lot of hockey that way. Yeah.
That just points to me, that's not even a coaching issue. That's a leadership in the room kind of deal that there's no sense of accountability. There's just zero sense of, hey, you want to get embarrassed tonight against the San Jose Sharks? Because whatever, 3-2, 4-2 hockey game with the empty net. That was embarrassing.
That's a game you should win, right? I think we all said it on the show. And it's that should leave. It leaves a bad taste in our mouths. It better leave a bad taste in their mouths. If we're the Hawks, man, they should be. They have a lot of optional skates, optional this, optional that. They should be practicing today. Should be morning skate tomorrow. They should be pissed off right now. I'd be expecting to see a response Saturday. It's a game like that you can't just tolerate. You can't just take that. You got to use this as a learning experience and, get better from it. Yeah.
Yeah. Are these guys not talking about the impact of that game before it? Are you not getting excited for that game? Well, we mentioned how Vlasic said that on CHGO, but it's
he didn't have a good night last night.
No, and it's he had a couple of good defensive play, but yeah, he was pretty unnoticeable. I just how do you come out that flat? It doesn't make sense. It's inexcusable.
Yeah, and you had 2 days of rest in California. It's I don't know, maybe that atmosphere there, they're not used to it and they're having too much of a good time over there. I don't know. I'm on nothing there, but it's you got to be ready to go. And it's they claim they were so amped up for that game, but we didn't really see it the first period. I think we did after that, but it was too little, too late. Yeah.
It's just maybe it only mattered to like a third of the group.
Yeah.
Is what it looked like. Where some of the older guys, like, I don't know. I guess Jason Dickinson looked like he cared a little bit last night.
He did.
But, you know, some of these older vets, it's just not clicking, or it's not like they just
there's a
don't,
disconnect, it feels like, between the youth and the vets on this team. It feels like they're not quite on the same page, it sometimes feels like. Yeah.
But it feels like it's bleeding into the young group a little bit, which is
Yeah,
what
that's-
happens when you have bad leaders. Like when you have bad leaders, bad habits get impressed upon impressionable young hockey players, you know?
Our bottom six last night was completely unnoticeable.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. I mean, the really like consistent line was, you know, which has been kind of the case lately. It's been that second line, right? That Turbo Mikhaev Donato line was consistent, and I think when Nazar was driving the play, whatever line Nazar was on was noticeable. But then when he wasn't on that line, it disappeared. So you know, it just goes to show, you know, he elevates guys, you know, elevates the group. So should be playing on the top line. Like I agree with you, Dickinson he definitely cared last night. That was a hell of a tilt he had, but also shouldn't be playing on the wing, the first line of Connor Bedard. Like, what are we doing here? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Let's talk about Connor Bedard a little bit, because I was really unimpressed with him last night. Like, misconduct aside, the fact that if you're Connor Bedard and you go the first 2 periods of a hockey game without registering a shot on goal, that is inexcusable to me. You should be registering, if you're Connor Bedard, at least 2 shots every period. At least 2 shots every period. Like, am I wrong here? Like, this is
no, you're not.
Like shot attempts,
shots on
goal. I mean, you're not gonna have 6 shots on goal a night, but
I mean, Nazar did last night.
Yeah. It might happen, but nobody averages 6 shots on goal.
I think 3 shots, like, you know, if you're getting a shot a period, 3 shots a game, like that's pretty reasonable.
That's the bare minimum.
I think Betsy had, if I recall, he had just over 200 shots last season. I think right now he's in the 150 range. He's around the same amount of games played as he was last year. For whatever reason, he's not shooting the puck as much this year. I don't know if it's a mental thing or what, but he's been too unselfish. And that's my biggest critique of Bedard, is that he's too unselfish. He's deferring too much. He's a little too predictable from that standpoint. He's got this outstanding shot. He doesn't use it enough, and I'm not really sure why.
Yeah, I think that the first period was a bit of a wash. That line was not able to get anything going in the first.
Yeah.
I thought he looked a lot better once
With
he was
Nazar,
on the line with Nazar and Doc.
Yeah.
They were, I don't know, some good passing sequences, but you're completely right. Like, he needs to just be selfish and start taking more shots.
It's not even the selfish part of it. It's just shoot the puck. Like, you have an opportunity, put it on net, create something. Here are the NHL leaders, which you should argue that Connor Bedard wants to be in this class of player, correct?
Yeah.
So NHL shot leaders. All right, maybe 2 shots a period was a bit much, but at least 1 shot a period is the standard here. Leading the NHL in shots on goal per game, David Pastrnak, 4.16. Also tied with him, Brady Tkachuk. Nathan McKinnon, 4.06. Austin Matthews, and even 4 shots a game. Ovechkin, 3.7. Jack Hughes, 3.69. Forsberg, 3.56. Werenski, Celebrini is averaging 3.49. He's 9th in the NHL right now in shots on goal per game. Matt Boldy, 3.47. Naz Kadri, 3.41. Kucherov, 3.3. Draisaitl, 3.3. Nylander, 3.2. Kyle Connor, 3.2. You get the point here?
And what's Connor's? It's probably the 2 range.
Probably less.
Yeah, because I think he's 150 in like 60 games, so that's probably barely over 2. Yeah,
like
he should be more than that. Yeah,
that's not even like Connor McDavid's at 3.07. Cale Makar is at 3.08. Like, we're talking defensemen in here now.
And Betsy's shot percentage is as good as it was last year. I think it's like just under 11%. So it tells if he was shooting the puck more at the production, a lot more of it would be coming. It's like easier said than done. But it's like, I do notice a lot of games where he has prime opportunities to shoot the puck and he still defers. Like, I don't know what it is, but it is something like, look, it's like, I think some of these things I point out will be solved with better line mates, but there's some things he can figure out right now that's kind of on him. I think this is one of those things. Like, he's just got to shoot the puck more, man. Yeah.
And I get the argument that he doesn't have the player personality, but like Frank Vetrano is on this list. Macklin Celebrini is on this list. Like, there are players on bad teams that are on this list high up, which means that if you're Connor Bedard, you need to be driving the play more. You need to be an energetic, impactful player on the ice from the moment the puck drops, not at the very end when you're chasing and you're down by a goal and you need to get something going, or you're up by a couple and you're trying to get some cookies because you haven't been in on any of the points. Like, you got to start the game that way. You got to set the tone. Somebody in the chat just said, and I agree with them. Like, how often do you watch a Hawks game this season and you're like, wow, 98's really setting the tone tonight?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He needs to make.
But I think when he does get going, when he is setting the tone, when he is confident, like he drives the play, he's the best player in the ice. Like we haven't really seen enough this year. And look, but I do think it's not all on him though. It's like, look, I might push back to Celebrini is. I think I check the lineup every night with the Sharks, and he's always playing with one of Eklund, Smith, or Toffoli, or one of those guys. Zetterlund, I know he's just traded, but he's had consistent line mates all season. Bedard is not. He's had like 50 different NPCs spawn in his wings. So I don't think the coaches are doing a lot of favors there. To be fair,
was Connor Bedard not brought into the NHL with more hype though than Macklin Celebrini?
Of course.
Yeah, but it's also sophomore versus rookie season. So
you're right. He should be a bit ahead of the curve.
Well, but there's sophomore slump thing, which I have some pushback against that. But it's often tougher for second-year players versus rookies. You look at a lot of star players; their production tends to dip in their second season.
Yeah, but this is like Connor Bedard, though. This isn't like a different. This is a guy that was talked about in the same way as like Sidney Crosby, Connor McDavid, like. They did not have sophomore slumps.
I guess where I want to like interject here is I would like to see Connor Bedard not want it more, but just like put his impact, like he's got to grab a hold of games. Like I want to see him demand the puck.
He does wait for it too much.
Exactly. Like he's got to go out and get it. Like I know that the line combinations in the first period were atrocious, but it's like demand the puck and then don't pass it to anybody and just fucking shoot it every time you get past the blue line. Like, don't just like sit around and try to do these little backhand saucers and wait for a good opportunity with a good amount of open ice in the ozone. Like, just go get it. I don't know. That's just like, for him to get to that next level, he needs to be a player that can like be super impactful even on his own if he has to be.
Yeah, my pushback to the Crosby McDavid thing though is I believe the Penguins and Oilers were playoff teams in their second seasons,
That's
not
not
third
true.
or first in the NHL. No, 06-07 the Penguins made the playoffs, and then I think 16-17 the Oilers did. That's true.
Is it?
Yeah, if you can fact check it, I'm pretty
will
sure I'm right
fact check
about
it.
that. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. And that does make a difference. Like, yes, like he's a player who's good enough to make it happen on his own, and we should see it more often. He should be a guy that elevates players. I think in his career, when he's had consistent line mates, he's had. Like, look at Philip Kurashev this year. He's done absolutely jack shit. He's done nothing. Last year, he was on Bedard's wing all season. He was a 50-point guy. Like, I generally think if you just took the same guys and put them on his wing all season, they figure it out. Like, he would elevate his game. Like, I really think that'd be the case. That's a hard thing to do, no matter how good of a player you are, to adjust your game when you have different guys playing with every night. It's a tough thing.
But you can't blame Connor Bedard's lack of.
I'm not, but it's
like
a part of
Philip.
it.
Yeah, but it's not Philip Kurashev's fault that.
I'm not. Where did we get this
Well,
from?
I'm just saying that, like, just because Philip Kurashev had a fall off doesn't mean that.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying last year Bedard had consistent line mates.
Okay.
And that was a big part of why he drove the play, why he was consistent, why he was producing. And this year we've seen a fall off. And I think a part of it is the fact that he hasn't had consistent line mates. I'm not saying it's all of it, but it's a part of it. You can't deny that it's a part of it.
It's a part of it. I think it is a smaller part of it than we might be thinking right now. I just think that, like, it shouldn't matter really who you play with. Like, Sidney Crosby was notorious for making the best out of weak line. Like,
So is Patrick Kane.
Yeah, like they never put Sid with the best players on the Penguins. Yeah. Like, they always put guys who just like did the thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was Chris Kunitz, it was Colby Armstrong, it was different players that maybe weren't as skilled as Sidney Crosby. You know what I mean? But
yeah. I mean, here's the Edmonton Oilers year 2 record with McDavid, 47-26, 103 points. I'll find the Penguins here. I'm pretty sure you could filibuster while I find the Penguins. But my point is, like, these teams were a lot better. The personnel around them was a lot better than what Connor Bedard's working with right now, which is a fair point.
Yeah. Patrick Kane played
Penguins year 2 record, 47-24, 105 points. Meanwhile, the Blackhawks right now, 21-36-9, I believe. So there we go.
But I think it's important to look at like who's on those teams too a little bit. Like,
Yeah, McDavid had Drysdale, Crosby had Malkin.
yeah, okay, but like how many points did Leon Draisaitl? Like Leon Draisaitl didn't become Leon Draisaitl until a few years in.
He had 77 points.
Okay.
Yeah, let me look up Malkin. I think that was his second season. He would have been close to 100, which is similar along the lines of Crosby. Yeah, Malkin. Let's see. 07, 0708 stats. 106 points for Malkin.
This team isn't crazy though. Like this team it's Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and then it's Jordan Eberle, Milan Lucic, Nugent Hopkins at 43 points, and 1 point behind Nuge is Patrick Maroon with 42. Mark Letestu too. Like, this is a bit of a better team here, but like, at the same time, like Connor McDavid had 100 points in 82 games.
Yeah, that's great. Look, we talked about this. No matter how good of a player you are, I just like nobody can do it fully alone. The NHL is a star league. Like it's combos, two guys. What Boyson brought up, right? Bedard hasn't had that yet in his career. He hasn't had his Malkin. He hasn't had his Draisaitl. Patrick Kane had Taves. Kane had Taves. Like everybody has a piece, a line mate with them consistently at their level. They can perform. Bedard hasn't had that yet, so I think that's a big factor here to take into account. Yeah,
I think both things are true. I think that Connor Bedard does need help, but I think there's a lot of aspects in his game that he could be doing significantly better at right now.
I agree.
You can't go 40 minutes of a hockey game without shooting one on the net.
Yeah.
It's fair.
You're not going to win a lot of games like that, in my opinion. You guys want to talk about the misconduct now?
Yeah, Jesus. My opinion hasn't really changed. I mean, I've looked at everything. I've looked at all the clips, and we have a clip from Connor too that we'll get to his thoughts on it. But I don't know if you guys disagree here, but you could call us crybabies all you want, but it seems like a bunch of nonsense to me. I mean, look, from what Bedsy said, I doubt he said anything that was worth a 10-minute misconduct. But look, we don't know exactly what he said, but Sorensen said himself he's heard worse. So, and these types of things happen every game, and it just seems like with Bedsy sometimes there's this extra like bit of treatment that he gets compared to other players. It doesn't always seem right to me. I don't know. I mean, he doesn't really get a lot of calls. I think he has 48 penalty minutes this season, which at this rate he might have as much penalty minutes as points. And I don't know, that's as much at him as the reffing, but that seems a little suspect to me.
It just feels like it's a situation where you have a referee that was angry and upset and just decided to make a call literally because he can.
That's in over his head.
That's kind of what the situation feels like to me. It's like, oh, I didn't like that, and I can call a penalty, so I'm going to.
Yeah, I was doing a little Chris Rooney research last night, and he seems like the type of ref who's been in these situations before. This isn't really anything new for him. So,
do you have examples?
Well, like you talk, I'll find the examples. But I remember I saw an article or something about
it.
No.
I was just gonna say, do we want to play the clip while he's doing research?
Oh yeah. Let's play the clip first, and then I have some thoughts.
I guess you just didn't like what I said, so that's how it goes.
Was it after the tripping or non-tripping call, or was it once you got back to the bench?
I don't know. I don't remember. Probably when I got to the bench. I feel like the play was still going on.
Did you think what you said was that egregious?
No, I didn't think it was too crazy, but obviously I'm not. He's a ref, so he gets to make that call. So you gotta live with it.
Were you surprised to be sent to the box?
A little, I guess. Yeah. I mean, you don't really expect that, but it happens. So yeah.
How tough is that, sitting there for 10 minutes while your team's chasing a 1-goal lead like that?
Yeah, obviously it's not too fun. So I got to be smarter with my words there, and obviously I'm supposed to be out there in those situations. So it's frustrating to have to watch.
Okay, young players in the NHL are never going to get the benefit of the doubt with the referees.
It's not right.
Well, it is and it isn't. You know what I mean? Like, it's not right. Like, every game should be called the same, but these are humans, right? Like, you want it, like, then let's take the refs off the ice and let's do robots. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Honestly, at this point, it's so bad. Just do it. Honestly, I'm not even opposed to the idea. It's become such a joke today.
Yeah.
It's part of the game. You don't want that. You say that now. I've seen this in other sports. You've seen it in soccer with VAR. You don't want that.
I just think that like where the frustration for me comes on this is that, you know, you see guys kicked out for less, and I said this on the post game show last night too. You see guys kicked out for that and less, and it's not like the refs are the most respectful people in the world. Like, they give it back to the players a lot, you know, but it is about getting on their good side. You know, there's only a certain number of NHL referees and linesmen in the game. And over time, being in the National Hockey League, you develop a rapport with them. You remember that clip that was going around of Brady Tkachuk at the Four Nations face-off where he's talking to the ref, and he's like talking about the fights at the beginning of the USA-Canada game, and he's like, man, like, did you see that? Like, what'd you think of that? Connor Bedard, I don't think, is having those kinds of conversations with the referees right now. So there's no referee that's going to give him the benefit of the doubt right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it's
It
a
just
good
feels
point.
like there's a double standard.
I think, well, yes, there is, Justin, but that's just the way it is. Like, you can't just, like, we can't just get sour about, like, I understand not liking that that's kind of the status quo, but it is. I think you saw a little bit just by those post-game comments. Like, I was expecting him to be, like, super pissed off and be like, yeah, I have no clue what he's talking about. Like, he's completely lost the plot here. I didn't say anything
That's not Bedard,
bad.
man.
But he bit his tongue and he was like, yeah, I got to be more careful with my words. So hopefully that's like a little bit of that, Tassos. I don't know if you kind of felt the same way about his post-game comments, but that's just like, I guess, how I see it.
I mean, depending on what he said, like, I don't know exactly what he said to Chris Rooney, but if you really felt some kind of way about it, then take the fine. Like, take the fine in the post-game presser from the NHL and, like, say what happened, what you really felt about it. Like, really lean into it, because, you know, but then it's like you're really never going to get the benefit of the doubt from the referees.
It's not Betsy's personality, man. Like, it was probably, I'm sure this is something he probably doesn't speak like that very often. Maybe he was even out, maybe even surprised himself a little bit. But, you know, that's a frustration when you get a missed call, you know, in a close game like that late. But it's a learning experience for him, right? Like, you guys are right, right? You definitely got to build this rapport with these guys. You don't want to be burning bridges, right? I mean, if this guy's going to be around, you're going to face him again. It's like, you don't want to give him more excuses to give you more misconducts in the future. Yeah.
You know, the same thing happened to Sidney Crosby when he entered the league. Like, he would go in the media and complain about it. Like, that was a thing. And it, you know, they called him Crybaby Crosby, and they never gave him the benefit of the doubt until later on. Right? Connor McDavid did the same thing. It was a little bit different. You know, the fact that Connor McDavid doesn't draw more penalties in the NHL blows my mind, because he's the fastest player to ever put on skates.
Yeah, he probably gets penalized like 5 times a game.
And they call maybe one. Maybe. You know? So there is reason sometimes to, like, chirp the refs and say things about how you feel. But, you know, you're 19. Like, you gotta develop relationships with these guys. It's not just going to happen because of who you are, right? If anything, you're like, oh, like, there is a standard. Like, they treat Connor Bedard like they treat Jason Dickinson. You know what I mean? As they should, as referees. Not saying that the league, you know, then it becomes more of an issue of, like, you know, the league doing more to protect their superstars, right? But yeah, it is. The standard is the standard.
Chris Rooney was upset Bedard didn't come over and shake his hand before the game.
I see. That's a hell of a pull right there, man. It's actually, speaking of Chris Rooney, I found what I was referencing. Apparently officiated the 2023 Stanley Cup Finals game 2. I remember there were a lot of comments from, you know, fans and people involved saying that he was making hockey. I'm not going to say exactly what a P word sport. I'm not going to say what the P word is. You could probably figure that out. He gave 10-minute misconducts to guys like Matthew Tkachuk and, you know, Declare, Fitzgerald, etc. He was basically just handing up ponies at a silver platter. So he's been in these misconduct situations before. That's what I was referencing. This isn't new from that perspective. So, you know, guys chirping him and him not taking it lightly, which he's not alone. Like, there are a lot of refs who've been in those situations, but it just seems like with him, it's been a little more so. But maybe it's just me, you know.
I think the league needs to have conversations with these guys about that. Like, you can't just get on tilt as a referee and just start handing out penalties just because you can. I think that's a deeply flawed system.
There needs to be more accountability with these refs. Like, players got to answer. They got to do post-game interviews. Coaches got to do post-game interviews.
Simple.
Post-game interviews don't like, refs should have to explain their calls, should explain, if you give up a 10 misconduct to players, you should explain exactly why it's the case. There needs to be more accountability of the officials.
I understand that the job is hard, but it's what you sign up for. Like, you should be available for criticism, and there should be accountability there. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think there should be 10-minute misconducts for refs when they miss clear, obvious calls. I think that should be put in place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Crickets.
Okay. Yeah, crickets podcast.
I was mostly joking, but it's like, I don't know. It's like maybe there's something to be said for that. Like, a ref isn't performing. Like, I have like a sub-in ref there. I don't know. I'm on nothing there. I'm pissed off, man. Yeah.
Okay, let's move away from the misconduct now. Frank Nazar was really good again last night.
Yeah, I think he was a standout for me. I mean, I think he was the Hawks' best player. I mean, there were many moments in that game where he was like, seemed like he was the only guy out there for us. He was driving the play. He was making things happen. And, he's a player who does that. I think his speed is a big part of why. It's like he's able to generate calls too. Like, he probably gets more calls than anybody on his team because of his speed. He generates plays. He's able to drive the play, makes guys run him better. Like, that was fantastic to see. I think Betsy's play elevated when he was paired with Frank Nazar. So, hopefully we could see that consistently from this point forward. But he had a nice goal too. I mean, I think to get us back in that game to start the second period, 10 seconds in, absolute toe drag release of a sniper, Frank Nazar. And it was just a great game from him, and he's just playing with so much confidence. He just seems to get it, man. He just seems to have it. You either do or you don't. Like, he has this confidence, this swagger about him that a lot of young players don't. A lot of young players are timid, and Frank Nazar is not timid. I mean, I think that's a good thing. I think he has the right mentality to survive and to thrive in this league. Yeah.
If we start another game this year without Frank Nazar on the first line, it's criminal. Like, he should be up
there the rest of the year.
He should play on the first line for the rest of the season, and I want to see him on the first power play unit too. Like, he's got this skill and he's got the vision to be really effective on the power play, but he's also a really good, one of, if not our best puck retriever already. So it's like, why is he not getting minutes on the first power play unit?
And he's great at bringing the puck in the zone, which a lot of guys in this team aren't good at. And that's how a lot of our power plays. It's like when we lose that opening draw and the puck's out, we just can't get settled the rest of the shift because we're just trying to get the puck in and we keep losing it. Nazar is one of the few guys on his team who could do that properly. It's like we have him in the second unit most nights. Like, what are we doing here? He's been probably our best forward post Four Nations, and he's on the second power play unit. Like, the second period, he starts off, we have that little bit of time left in the power play, and he delivers. Like, he should be in the first power play unit. I like that they had Artie up there. I think that's great. Have Frank up there.
I think it's important for the first unit to have a couple of guys that can bring the puck in the zone. Like, you just waste so much time waiting for Bedard to get back there every single time. Like, if you have multiple guys that are like, okay, you can bring the puck in, you can bring the puck in, then when there's like, bounces in the neutral zone, you don't have to like go all the way back to your net and like recycle the whole breakout. So yeah, I think that's important. Great game from him last night. Easily our most exciting and convincing player last night. It was a sweet goal, dude. That toe drag release, like right at the start of the second period, was absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, he was one of the few positives, a bright spot in what was otherwise, a rough night, which is, and I think that's been pretty consistent lately. It feels like every game we have good things to say about Frank Nazar. And like, that's important, man. Like, those are the players you want to see develop and show that growth. I think this season, from, starting the season in Rockford, tearing up down there, his game translating right away to the NHL. I think we're all his future at the Hawks is very promising, man. I can't wait to just watch him, keep getting better. I think as he learns how to finish, he's going to be such a dangerous player in this league. Yeah.
Any merit? I know you guys want to see him and Bedard play together, this, that, and the other. Any merit to maybe swapping the two of them and putting Bedard on a second line almost, to sort of avoid tougher matchups? If it's not like, if he's struggling to go against the other team's toughest competition every single night, and Frank Nazar has been the best Hawks player, like I've noticed it, he's been the best Hawks player for the last 3 weeks now, almost a month maybe.
No, I'd say keep them together, and then that second line that you have, that's been our best line for as long as they've been.
Make them the third line.
Make them like, if you want to like change up the matchup, send them out against other teams' best lines. Keep Bedard and Nazar together. You have to. You absolutely have to. because they're not good enough on like they haven't been convincing enough on their own playing with a Foligno or a Dickinson. Like you need them. They play with so much speed and they see the game pretty similarly. Like you got to play them together.
Yeah, I mean, you can sub out the third guy in the first line. Bedsy needs one guy, one guy just every night he could look to, and play with consistently. That's just one. And Nazar is the guy on this team who matches up closest to him skill-wise. I think they complement each other well. We've seen it consistently. Like his game last night, elevated with Frank Nazar. This is common sense here. Like, no, they should be playing together every night. He should be this year's Kurashev, right? But better, obviously, than Phil. Yeah.
All right. Hockey night in Canada tomorrow, the late game. Hawks take on the Vancouver Canucks. It is a second return homecoming for Connor Bedard. The first one didn't really go that well at all. He did the after hours with Scott Oak after the game, and the game itself was pretty frustrating, I think, both for Hawks fans and Connor Bedard alike.
Yeah.
That was
a low point. That was like, I mean, there's been a few low points, but yeah. He didn't last much longer after that. Yeah.
No, that was peak Richardson, like hell, scoring 1 goal a game max. Like, hopefully we get a different result this time. I think we will. I know Justin's praying for it so that he doesn't have to get that tattoo. But hopefully they bounce back after a game like last night, and you only have 2 days off or 1 day off. So just 2 days between games. Hopefully they can keep that frustration at the front of their minds and have a good performance in Vancouver.
Yeah, it's basically 2 days, right? Because it's another 10 o'clock Eastern time start.
Yeah.
So can't wait for another 1 o'clock post-game show as the F1 season starts up in Australia. But no, for the Hawks, I want to see a response. I mean, they should be angry after that game last night, man. I know I am. It's like they should be angrier than me. I'm just a fan watching this team, man. Like that's the type of culture you got to build, where you're not going to take performances like that, right? No, that type of game should piss you off. So hope we see it. Bedsy, his second game back in his hometown. Like I want to see it go better than the first one, which was rough. I'm sure Bedsy should be feeling plenty motivated right now. After the way that game last night ended, he's playing in his hometown in front of his family there. He should be plenty motivated. So I want to see him take it personally. I want to see Bedsy Nazar. Like I better see them together. I better see it. I'm expecting that. And keep Artie up there in the first power play.
Yep.
I think he was really close to that first career goal last night. I thought, he had a bit of a rough moment at the end of that game there with empty net. I'm not gonna, that's a learning experience for him. But I thought otherwise Artie's looked pretty good up here so far. Let's see him keep cooking, building that confidence. See better games from the rest of that defense. Guys like Vlasic, want to see more of them. And outside of Beds, we know that second line's going to show up, and Nazar keep driving the play. This is a Canucks team that we know the season they've had. It hasn't gone the way they've wanted, but they're still in this playoff push, right? They're still in this race. It's a game, 2 points that means a lot for them. I think from my perspective, obviously I want to see us take home the 2 points because I don't want to get that tattoo. I'd rather see the Calgary Flames in the playoffs than the Vancouver Canucks. And, I've been slandering San Jose a lot in the show, and that didn't pan out. I think Vancouver's another team I've been slandering quite a bit because of all their Delulu fans who think that Bedsy's going to want to go there to that locker room cancer over there. Like, I don't think so, buddy. So, I want to see Bedsy light up his hometown. I want to see the Hawks bounce back, get a dub here, and, let's see. Hopefully, Spencer Knight first win of the new drip too. Where is New Mass this time? Yeah,
I want to see Levshinov for another 20 minutes, and play him with Vlasic.
Yeah,
like if Crevier's not playing, play Levshinov with Vlasic.
And not Martinez, man. What are we doing here? Like Vlasic, Levshinov, that should be like your future top pair right there. You would think. I mean, here's another thing. I think with Levshinov showing like his prowess, quarterback in the power play, it's like a guy we brought up a lot in this show, his future at the Hawks, especially that decor kind of getting jumbled up there, the logjam, is, Kevin Korchinski and Rockford. It's like if Levshinov turns out to be the guy quarterback in your power play unit there, it's like, what does that kind of leave him? I guess he could quarterback the second unit, but, come draft time, I hope the Hawks draft Misa, but if they decide to go another route, let's say they get the first pick in that tank bowl with San Jose and they decide to draft that certain defenseman, I mean, there's probably going to have to be something that gives there. So we'll see. I guess that's another topic for another time there.
Yeah, like if you have to, even if you have to move Korchinski for a trade, like they should be super willing to do that because now more than ever, it feels like he's somewhat expendable.
Yeah, which I hate to say that because I like Kevin, but it's like if Levshinov could do what he does and we have all this defense here, we're going to potentially bring in another one, which I don't want. I think this team needs Misa a lot more than Schaefer, but if they decide to go the other route, that is something they're going to have to think about. But yeah, Crevier is a guy you brought up, and it's like, he should be playing. Like, he's been good for us. Like, I
Yeah.
don't understand why he's not playing.
It
But
does make
you know,
sense.
again, there's only so many spots that go around, so I guess I answered my own question there. But it's like I'd rather see him in this lineup over, the Martinez is the world. But yeah.
He's also a right shot guy, and so they've got left shot players playing on the right side. Like, you have Crevier, who's been pretty solid all year long, and him and Vlasic have been a really good pair.
Great pair. Yeah, the Twin
yeah,
Towers.
Yeah, I don't really understand that either.
All right.
Yeah, play the kids, play the youth. Yeah.
Can we you guys want to talk about Vancouver a little bit? Sorry, excuse me.
Sure.
Just thoughts on the Canucks a little bit here. Where they are, where they stand, what things are kind of like, I don't know, man. I look at this team and, the Besser situation is really awkward. We heard the comments last Friday, it was a week ago today, the trade deadline, where, Patrick Alvin came out and said, if you heard what I was offered for Brock Besser, then, you would be appalled or you'd walk out of the room or whatever. He seems to be as good as gone this year. I don't know. Elias Pettersson is at least shooting a few in the back of the net now. But, the Demko thing is such an interesting story, too, that I don't think many people are talking about. Like, you signed Kevin Lankin into a 5-year extension.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you think Thatcher Demko's feeling about that? Like, about his position on the team, even, right? Like,
Well, his future there seems pretty unclear, right?
it feels like everybody's future there seems pretty
Yeah,
unclear.
pretty much. That's the thing. It's like, despite all this drama of this team, the fact that they're still tied with 71 points with Calgary for that last playoff spot, it's kind of impressive in a way. But it also kind of tells you, like, of all these players in this team's future being unclear, kind of feels like this is their last shot here, which I don't think this team is going to, if they do make the playoffs, God forbid, I don't think they're going to do anything if they get there. That's like an easy first round exit. But it's like, if a lot of these guys are going to be gone in the offseason, which it kind of appears is going to be the case, like, you kind of have to make hay while the sun shines here, which they're still in a position to do so. But I mean, thankfully Pettersson finally got out of his drought there for them. I think he's 39 points in 59 games this year or something. But
yeah, and he's
he's
their second highest producer at 39 points in 59 games. Quinn Hughes is going to need back surgery this offseason too. So
yeah, it's literally him. Like, he's drove the play here. He's the reason the Canucks are in this position. It's like, and if what's true that he's not going to want to stick through a rebuild, you lose Quinn Hughes. Like, good luck, man. That's going to be a long trek back to the top for Canucks land, because it's not just, Pettersson. Obviously, we know Besser's situation there didn't get dealt the deadline, but it seems like he's all but gone. And, all these core guys leaving, potentially, you got to start from fresh,
yeah, they're one of those teams around the league right now that, like, you kind of don't know what angle they're going to take this offseason, where they're going to go, Like, do you just tear it down? Do you try to do a rebuild on the fly? Are you going to be trying to make trades and bring guys in this offseason? Or are you going to, commit to a full rebuild? I just, they, exactly to your point, Justin, even if they somehow make the playoffs, that's a sweep. They stink.
Yeah, they're not a playoff team, plain and simple. They just seem like a group that isn't connected. And it's like, when you have that, you're not really going to go anywhere when you don't have that chemistry. And it's like when Quinn Hughes is your only constant every night. He can, as good of a defenseman he is, probably you could argue the best defenseman in the world, one of him or Cale Makar. It's like he can't do it alone. So yeah.
Could you guys have imagined this fall off watching them last year?
Kind of.
No, but it's the Canucks though.
They were bad the year before. And then they kind of had that season last year out of nowhere. They were the big surprise last year, them and the Jets, and then just straight back to being horrible.
I do remember a lot of people saying it could have been a Linsanity or a lot of guys on PDO heaters having career years. And it's like the chance of you having that again is pretty slim. But I think just the drastic fall off, it's like going from one extreme to another. It's like I would have expected them to be better than they are, at least a playoff team. And it's like, even if they make the playoffs, I wouldn't call this a playoff team. There's a difference between being in the playoffs and being an actual contender, which I don't think they're going to make it anyway. Hopefully I don't want to get the tattoos ready here. My parents won't be thrilled about that. Yeah.
Just the Pettersson fall off is insane.
That I didn't see
he has to be hurt.
There's got to be something like that, right? Because I'm just looking at his numbers right now, and it genuinely makes no sense. Or he actually is that weak of a person mentally that these things that really shook him, and he just can't play hockey.
Yeah, and the fact that his production's been as bad, not worse, since the Miller trade too. It tells me that really didn't have as much to do with it as we thought. Like it's either a skill issue or he's dealing with something. Yeah.
The reports are that he's been dealing with a knee issue for about a year. And I brought this up, I think, a few weeks ago, is shut him down.
Yeah.
Shut him down.
Yeah. Yeah. I have no but it's like if you're in this position here and it's like, maybe his play hasn't been there, but it's like if you're fighting, if you're in a playoff push now, like you're not
they
gonna
can't.
you can't really afford to shut down Elias Pettersson. I don't think they'd really be thrilled about that, but I'd say if they're further down, if they're out of it, that'd probably be the logical solution. But even if he has to miss the start of next season, to get the surgery or whatever he ends up doing. Yeah.
If you shut him down now, I feel like you have to trade him in the offseason. Like,
No.
Kind of,
that just feels so
it kind
weird.
of feels like it's trending that way, though. Like, I have a hard time believing that he's still in a Canucks uni next season. I don't know, after all this talk.
If you shut him down and he gets surgery, you're going to have that indicates to me that you're going to hang on to him for next season. And if you're going to trade him, then that team will sort of evaluate and make their own decision with Pettersson as far as what the course is for injury. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. It's funny. Pettersson's a guy that we've talked about on the show too. A guy if we'd be interested in bringing in. I might be, speculating here, but I remember watching the Every Shift episode this week. I remember they're showing like some like meetings of the trade deadline meetings of guys talk about players. His name wasn't mentioned, but they brought up a player who's like maybe they're interested in. But it's like, man, his regression this year has been almost alarming. And like it sounded like they were talking about Elias Pettersson there. I don't know. Maybe I'm on the nothing there, but just when I was hearing them talk like that, like that felt like they were describing Elias Pettersson. It's like it's true. It's like. While it sounds great and all, like, oh, maybe he could resurrect his career elsewhere, maybe here, it's like just this drastic fall from one year to the next. It's like it's not a guarantee to be able to find it again. It's like it feels like there was almost more going on there, you would think. And if not, then damn, what does that really say about him? He might just not be built for this. As strong as his skill of a player as he is, like there's more to it to being successful in the NHL than just being talented, Yeah.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe he just needs a change of scenery.
Yeah, that's what they always say. Yeah, but maybe. Yeah.
Change of scenery merchant, Elias Pettersson.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, there's been a lot of teams connected, but that contract, man, I don't know. If the salary, look, here's another thing: the salary cap going up is an excuse to take on necessarily bad contracts and stuff, because like everything else is going to go up too, the prices and stuff. So we can only use that so much times to justify moves.
Yeah. Would you take a stab on him?
Yes.
For the right price, I mean, I think he can't really afford terribly too much right now, of his value, but he's still Elias Pettersson, and you have to make some sacrifices to make it happen. But if you could do it for the right price, yeah, low risk, I'd try it. Yeah.
Okay. Let's do Friday questions. Sorry, I'm just trying to see if something's going on out there. Okay, Friday mailbag, all from Discord this week. No DM questions, but we have quite a few from Discord. So, and some of them are pretty interesting. So keep sending questions. We answer them every Friday, and we really appreciate it. You guys are actually like super creative with a lot of your questions sometimes, and ask some fun stuff. So keep doing that, whether it's on Discord or DMing us at Chicago Hockey Radio. It is a lot of fun. We do it every Friday. Okay, from Seinfeld fan. How are you guys liking Veleno in the last few games he's been here? Do you see him being a part of the team going forward?
To be honest, like I haven't really noticed him. Like every game, like he's just kind of been a ghost out there. So look, it's a new place, change of scenery, but he hasn't really been noticeable to this point, I would say. So to answer his question, like I don't really know. He's 25 years old, so he's still got his prime ahead of him, and maybe could be a bottom six guy here, but. He's kind of striking me as a guy we'll look back in a few years like, oh, Joe Veleno was a Blackhawk? Like one of those types of guys who probably won't be here very long.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked about that. Or like he could just be a fourth line center, and that's just what he is. And so like I don't think a guy like that is going to wow us. Like I don't think he's going to do anything where it's like, oh my gosh, Joe Veleno's on a heater right now. Like this guy could be a big piece for us going forward. I think we kind of knew what we were getting with that trade package.
Yeah, and I don't think Red Wings fans are really like sad to lose him too. So that kind of told you a lot right there. Yeah. So yeah, I don't really know if he's a future guy here. Just kind of a fill-in piece while we wait for the big boys.
He's just doesn't move me at all. Like doesn't look like he's. I don't want to say it doesn't look like he's trying out there, but it doesn't look like he's doing anything to try and make an impact on a game. Right.
I don't know if he can make an impact on a game. Like he might
just-
just not be like a legit NHL guy.
Yeah,
Skill
I'd
issue?
have to look
Yeah.
at like some of his career stats here, but like
His best case, he's been like a 26, 28 point guy. Like that's like his best production. Like otherwise, I think this year he had like 10 points in 56 games in the Wings, so he hasn't really done much of anything this year. Yeah,
so he's just not that guy. Then is what we're saying.
he's not that guy. Yeah, I mean, which is I remember he had a lot of hype coming in. Like
He was an exceptional status player in
which is
junior
kind of
hockey.
shocking. I guess he's the Sean Day of forwards. Then I guess, but at least he's played some games in the NHL. So yeah.
His career high is 28 points in the
Yeah, there you
National
go.
Hockey League
And
I'm a
he's,
stats merchant over here.
last season.
he's a double-digit minus every single year too.
Yeah, it's like there's ways to impact the game even if you're not producing, but it's like when he's not producing, he's not really making an impact. So, and that's not really a way to survive in this league if you're a bottom six guy. So, I think he's got to be more noticeable from this point forward. I think, but I don't know, but his ice time has been kind of low too. So we'll see. Yeah.
Gotta have an impact on the ice time that you get. All right, next question. We've answered this question before, but we can kind of do it quickly here. I didn't get to ask this at the live show, but I'm curious about the CHR origin story. Who contacted who first? How did you all meet? What goals and ambitions do you have for the show? That's a good one. That you'd like to come to fruition. Much love, boys. I've explained this before, but like me and Raven and Tim Tebow started this like podcast company. We've been doing a lot of different podcasts. We tried to make it work, with a bunch of different shows. Some of them just like there takes a certain level of like work that goes into something like this. You have to be creative. You have to try and grow. You have to try and engage with your audience. Different things that we've been trying to hit on, and all the different shows that we had for some reason just like weren't unable to do that. Whether it was like the people doing it or whether it was like the topic of the show just not being able to work out. Chicago has always kind of interested me as a market where, and I've said this like a handful of times on the show, this market needs something like this. Like you have Montreal with like the Habs Fan TV guys who are awesome. Toronto has all sorts of different people like Steve Dangle and, like they're really creative. They're really fun. Detroit has even like the Winged Wheel podcast. Like they're great, man. And this city just like doesn't have anything that's like fun and engaging and doing a bunch of creative different things. So I was like, let's do a Blackhawk show. Like this is kind of the vision I have for it a little bit. I hit up two other guys to do it. They flaked after one podcast, said that they could do it better with another network, and then never proceeded to put out another episode ever. So super, super funny. Then I hit up Lee. I was like, Lee, you should do this with me. And he's like, all right, but you got to get this guy. And that guy was Justin. And I DM'd Justin. He didn't answer. So I commented on one of his posts. I was like, hey man, like check your DMs. And then within like 30 seconds, we were DMing back and forth about this. And he came in, we did an episode over the summer, just me and Justin, hung out a little bit. And then Lee came into the fold once the season started. As far as goals and ambitions for the show, thoughts, fellas?
I want to be the greatest Blackhawks podcast of all time. When people think of Blackhawks hockey, I want them to think of Chicago Hockey Radio. When I jump into something, I don't do it to finish second. I do it to finish first. I'm a very competitive person, just like Bedard. He wants to be like the best hockey player there is. I want to be the best in the Blackhawks creative sphere. I think we all do. So my goals are pretty high, but it's like I think those are the types of goals you should have. You shouldn't have like boring, like just kind of realistic goals. So you should have out there goals. You should have those ambitious dreams to reach, and I think we have that type of work ethic, the type of drive to get there. So it's going to take time. It's not going to happen overnight, but I'm in it to win it. I think we all are here in this podcast, so we're going to stick with it, and we're going to just keep getting better as this team, getting better, and we're gonna get there. I think so. I think the potential is there. We're gonna maximize it.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to transcend like just Blackhawks coverage. Like obviously we're always going to do that, but like I want to get to a point where like we're big enough to where we can venture out and do all these different things. Kind of like how like Spit and Chicklets do. Like it's not just them talking about the hockey. They have all these other things they do.
Yeah.
The golf, the college hockey stuff,
everything, And so it's like different hockey stuff, even if it's like other sort of like shows and podcasts and different types of media. Like I just Tassos and I have talked extensively about like potential and different things we want to do, but I just want to yeah, I don't know, just like I don't want to just be like beat reporters. Like I don't want to like, and so that's why I it's awesome that we get like feedback from you, chat, and like I hope we're entertaining, because like I don't want to just be like an analyst. Like I want to be entertaining enough to where, you know, you'd want to watch us do anything. So
right, we bring some personality to the mix. Like there's other Blackhawks people who are very knowledgeable, bring good insights about the game, but not necessarily the most entertaining to listen to. Like I want us to bring that insights, but also be entertaining to watch, right? And bring that flair, that showmanship, that Saul Goodman-esque drive. Yeah.
As far as CHR goes, you know, like I want to, like Justin said, like
Biggest
let's be the biggest Blackhawks thing. You know what I mean? Let's be the biggest Blackhawks thing. But like, you know, if Justin wants to do a Formula One or like motorsports show at some point, like if Lee wants to do any other kind of show that you'd want to do, like, you know, but you know, we have to grow this one first. Absolutely. You know, we have to make this one successful before we start like doing other shows and like doing other stuff. But you know, that's kind of the goal here. And like, you know, we did the live show. Like it'd be cool if we could do like 3 or 4 of those and, you know, double the people show up or triple the people. And, you know, we appreciate everybody that come, but, you know, we want to create this community, make this community bigger, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And like, as far as like, I want CHR to be a thing that like, especially once this team's like good and competitive, that like every time a game ends, everybody's just tuning into Chicago Hockey Radio's post game. Like you know, like everybody know. Like if you actually care about the Blackhawks, you know about CHR, and you're gonna watch our post game, pre game, whatever it is. And then also like, I don't know, man. I want to contribute to like the atmosphere in the building too, like however that may be.
Culture.
Yes, exactly. Like I want to improve Blackhawks culture and turn it into like the most religious, like almost like European soccer-esque. Like I think that would be so cool. So any way to do that possible, I think is like a big goal of mine for CHR.
Yeah, because like as big as the Blackhawks are in the city of Chicago, and they are big, like they've always kind of played second fiddle to like the Bears. Like Chicago's kind of, it's a football town, but it's like I think the Hawks have very big potential to run this city. I think they could share the love, but I think there's even more potential for this fan base to grow. As great as it is, as big as it is, and hopefully we can play a part in that. Yeah.
And also just like hockey fans like love hockey. You know what I mean? So even just like, I think the playoffs are going to be really big for us this year too, and sort of bringing in people that aren't just Hawks fans. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
As far as
I think that's super important.
Like you don't have to be a Maple Leafs fan to watch Steve Dangle. You shouldn't have to be a Blackhawks fan to watch us. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
So
it's a hockey fan.
But I'd love to do like, I want to do other hockey stuff down the line. Like I might start like live, I've said this, I might start like live streaming some PWHL games here and there. You know, like the college hockey stuff, the videos, the live shows, you know, different pieces of content. Yeah, we're going to try and grow this as much as we can. And, you know, the thing too about hockey is you're either, I've said this before, I think, but like you're either on the in or you're on the out, you know, and sometimes with media, like there's the in and the out as far as like media versus being a part of a team, right? Like if you work for a team, you are very much on the in. And if you work for the media, you're very much on the out. But then even in the media, there's an in and an out too, where it's like the people that are in it and invited to everything. And, you know, like honestly, Justin, like we made jokes about this. The fact that you weren't invited to the Blackhawks creators skate at Wrigley Field that they did like 4 minutes of a walk down from our office. And not just you, like the Blackhawks news guy, even the Blackhawks insider kid, even though I know his page is a little smaller than news and yours, you know, but at least you two should have been invited. Like that's like the foresight of, that's the future of sports coverage in a lot of way, is Twitter and the internet and all this sort of stuff. So, you know, but like, it's because we're not on the in, you know what I mean? Like you're not on the in as far as media goes, because this is really your in to it. Like, you know, because the NHL is very old school. You know, they're not gonna take a guy who runs a meme page and be like, come to our creators skate, but they will take, you know, somebody that makes like goofy content. And like, you know, I like Chippy, and like there are creators that I like Swaggy P is really cool. Reagan Rust is pretty good with her content. You know, she gave us our time. Obviously, like the Chicklets guys are good, but like they had some creators out there that I was like, man, like your stuff isn't good. Like who's paying attention, like really truly like paying attention to your stuff at all? So, but like this is our means to get on the in of that, you know?
I want to become, especially in the Blackhawk sphere, like I want to become so big that they can't just like ignore us.
Yeah.
Like, we could be like the Steve Dangle of the
they
Hawks.
might not like our style. They might not like the things I say about, certain players or whatever. But like for
certain staff members,
whatever it may be. But like if our audience can become so big that there's so many people just watching us after every single game, and they can't not acknowledge us, Like they can't.
You know what they don't love? Our honesty.
Yeah.
But it's like we're never going to sacrifice that. Like that's why people are going to watch us, is we're honest. We're unfiltered, right? We're not working for this team, right? So we could kind of, we could be more, we could say good things, we could say bad things, right? You don't have to necessarily agree with it. You don't have to love it, but you got to respect it. And hopefully at some point though, I agree with you. We just eventually have that audience where it's like, we're right there in your face and you can't just block it out. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Good question.
Good question. I like the second part of like, where do we want to take this? Because, we're going to take this as far as you guys allow us. We're going to push this hard.
Yeah. We want to touch the skies. Help us out there. Yeah.
Which former Blackhawk do you expect to have their number retired next?
Duncan Keith.
Yeah.
Probably. I think he's got one more year or something. I think even next season maybe he could have it because 2022, so that would have been 3 years. So I think even next season he could have his number retired. So we're gonna have to wait a little bit for obviously Kane's still playing and Taze he's probably gonna come back, so that's gonna push that further down the road. Seabrook could be on the table. They just retired Chelios at 7. I happen to think they retired Seabrook's too. I'd be surprised if they didn't. So one of Keith or Seabrook probably. I think Seabrook's contract situation might be a bit different. So probably Keith first. Yeah.
There's no time wait on retiring numbers.
Oh, I thought it was like you had to be out of the league for a certain amount of years.
No, that's the Hall of Fame.
Oh,
that's the Hall of Fame.
Well, Keith will be there pretty soon.
Yeah.
He might be in the next class actually. So, but I would think Keith or Seabrook to answer the question.
Yeah. I don't have that's the correct answer.
Yeah.
And then Kane Taze, but that's a ways down the line.
Yeah.
Now that Rantanen is locked up for the next 8 years and Marner isn't guaranteed, are we cooked as far as getting a big fish this offseason? Because this trade deadline showed there isn't a whole lot out there now.
Well, we might not get the biggest fish, but there's still other fish in the sea here. So, I mean, look, I think Marner's definitely the one we want to put most of our bait into, but, there's other fish out there. So
and
I would say we're
also,
cooked.
I'm not even we shouldn't even just limit our thinking to just talking about UFAs.
RFAs.
Trades.
Offer sheets.
Yeah, trades. Go out. There are teams, we literally just said, Elias Pettersson. That might be a realistic thing where Vancouver's looking to move off a guy like that. I know I brought it up before, but genuinely, David Pastrnak. Boston's look to sell. Is David Pastrnak going to want to stay there? Maybe, but also maybe not. Kyle Davidson has literally just said that draft capital is not the main concern anymore. So let's start using these assets to bring in big, talented players.
Yeah, no, with you there. Do whatever it takes, right? Let's not limit ourselves to one line of thought here. I think there's a few ways to make it happen. I think now it's time to be aggressive, right? This offseason, right? We don't want to see another year of this. We got to accelerate, development of a lot of these guys, including our boy here, So gotta give them the best situation to work with. Yeah.
I'm going to keep saying it. Dylan Cousins and not getting him was a swing and a miss for this franchise. I don't know how hard of a swing they took, if they took one at all.
Tried. Yeah.
I hope they tried, but even if they did, they didn't try hard
enough.
You
gotta make it happen.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna lie. A Dylan Cousins for me, that should be if you bring in Dylan Cousins, that should be the second biggest piece you bring in.
Yeah, it shouldn't be your biggest.
But you got to get somebody. You
got to get something. Yeah, you can't do nothing. Yeah.
Dylan Cousins. Because I look around, and I think you're really going to have to find a team that is giving up on contending for the next little while.
Yeah.
We said it going into this year going into the trade deadline this year that it was a seller's market because there weren't a lot of sellers. A lot of teams really truly believed that they were in the mix. Even a team like the Islanders and stuff thought that they were kind of in it. Montreal held onto their pieces. St. Louis held onto their pieces. You're going to have to go to a team like the St. Louis Blues and hope that they're in the belief that they're toast.
Jordan
Kyrou or Robert Thomas. I don't think they would give up on Robert Thomas.
No.
But and
Kyrou's been
talked.
talks.
Blackhawks,
Yeah.
But Kyrou's a guy, right? Mason McTavish in Anaheim is a guy to me. You know, but like Seattle doesn't have anybody that the Blackhawks want, I'd assume. Nashville doesn't have anybody the Blackhawks would want. Utah's not going to get rid of any of their pieces. If anything, they're going to look to like bring in somebody this summer also. You know, Elias Pettersson, we've talked about. You know, looking at the Eastern Conference, like the Islanders, like if you can get Matt Barzal here, I think you do anything and everything in your power to try and get Matt Barzal to Chicago.
Bedard was asked a question like who would be his ideal line mate. I'm pretty sure he answered Matt Barzal. So there you go. They play with each other a lot. When he was a kid, like they play with each other, practice with each other. So they have that familiarity with each other there. And he's another fast guy too. Good hands. Yeah.
You know, would a guy like Tage Thompson interest you guys at all? Like,
And the Sabres would be stupid. Well, I mean, this is Buffalo, so they would probably be stupid enough to do that. But it's like that's a piece to build around if you're Buffalo. But you know, we know how they tend to trade their players before they reach their peak, so it wouldn't be new for them. Yeah.
You know, but then like JJ Peterka or somebody,
Yes.
which is also
Yes.
dumb
Yeah.
for them to move off from. But you know, at Boston, like I said, Pasternak maybe, but like you know, I don't think they're going to trade Pasternak or McAvoy or Swayman. Like I think they don't want to rebuild.
Pasternak might want, like these guys might want to leave though.
Maybe.
Like Pasternak really might want to leave.
If they're not going to rebuild, then enjoy being mid for the next eternity.
Yeah,
here.
why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, Detroit's not going to move off of any of their young stars like Raymond or anything like that. Montreal's like, I don't know, if you could find a way to get Cole Caulfield, that'd be pretty awesome, but that's not going to happen.
They're on the come up. They're
no
not-
chance.
They're not going to be moving away from young pieces.
Can I bring
Yeah,
up
no
a name
chance.
to you guys?
Yeah.
Who's that?
Alexi Lafreniere.
Ooh.
Yeah, that could be a guy.
Yeah, that's the guy who needs to change his scenery.
That's another like supplemental, like you know, that's not.
It's a Dylan Cousins.
Yes,
I
exactly.
like that though. I like that. Yeah, you know
yes,
me.
but yeah, that-
big Lafreniere believer.
I think
Yeah.
that's a super reasonable option because I think the Rangers are one of those teams that might be looking, you know, especially if they don't make the playoffs this year, looking.
Yeah,
to
happened with
offload some
Kakko,
guys.
right? So you think Lafreniere probably happened too eventually. Yeah.
All right. That's it for questions. Thanks to everybody that's sending questions. You guys are awesome. Keep sending them in via DM and via Discord. You guys are great. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with the NHL Hour on the other side. Keep it here. You're watching and listening to Chicago Hockey Radio on the Alithio Network. Tassos Kirkos, Justin Lynch, and Lee Grossman. Raven Gasser producing. Welcome to the NHL hour of our program. It is Friday here to wrap up the week, although we will be doing tomorrow's post-game show, another late one after the game against Vancouver, so be sure to tune into that one as well.
Who's got that one?
I think you and I.
Unless
you and I.
Dude, I don't know.
Dude, I don't know. I might be having fun.
I'm pretty sure the F1's going on around that time. I don't know.
Oh, well.
The F1's going on at fucking midnight?
No, cause it's in Australia. I think it starts
Melbourne,
like around
it's
the
11,
third.
Oh my God.
11,
I think-
12 Central, or 11 Central, 12 Eastern.
Yeah, I don't think me and Raven love that game's going on at the same time. But I'll do whatever it takes for this pod, though. I will do whatever it takes.
See,
No,
that's
I
the
can-
mentality.
I can do it. I'm
Nah, I'm just joking. We can all do it. I don't know, like we did last night. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
You guys can fight over it too. That'd be kind of entertaining. Maybe do it here on the podcast.
I just hope I'm absolutely hammered at that point.
Oh well, then maybe Justin's gonna do it. All right. A funny
Saturday night, I'll probably hammer too. Yeah.
a funny story out of Illinois high school hockey. I wanted to bring this up on. I wanted to bring this up on Wednesday. I meant to bring it up. I saw it. Some of you might have seen it. Some of you might not have. But it was just too good not to share. I thought it was really just very humorous. So, a stolen Illinois State Hockey Championship trophy has been recovered after it was mysteriously dropped off overnight earlier this week. The trophy disappeared from Mount Prospect Ice Arena during the Tier 2 state championships. Surveillance footage showed an unknown individual walking out of the arena with the trophy at around 4 p.m. Authorities launched an investigation and asked the public for help identifying the suspect. According to AHI or AHAI Hockey, the trophy was found outside of Gunzo's, which is a hockey supply store in Morton Grove, with no explanation. Store staff contacted officials to return it. Investigators are still working to determine who took the trophy and why. Just reach out if you know anything about this. But
Gunzo's is such a legendary pool. I'd always get my equipment at Gunzo's. Love that place. And Mount Prospect Ice Arena, I played there a few times. I remember Notre Dame High School. I think they play there a lot when I was at Ignatius. We'd always play them. A lot of beer league games there too. So that's pretty funny. It's really, so they got the trophy then. They found the culprit.
The trophy is now set to be displayed at the United Center for the upcoming high school state championship.
That's
How do you walk out of an arena with the trophy?
It's like a Seinfeld episode or something like that.
Who else steals a high school championship trophy too? Like it's not the Stanley Cup.
Also, they have surveillance of this kid. Did it? I was expecting this to be a 4 a.m. move. This person did it at 4 p.m. Just like the sun's still out. Like,
Was it an
adult genius?
Broad daylight? Like,
Yeah, he's definitely new to this, man. Like you do it in the dark, man.
I mean, a couple of things. One, if you do anything with enough confidence, like, you know, if it sounds like this might have been an adult doing this, like that it wasn't a kid.
it reminds me. I actually have a trophy that I'm trying to sell in case anybody wants to buy a.
Yeah, I'm sure a high school championship trophy's worth quite a pretty penny there at the pawn shops.
Just like doesn't like, I mean, I guess if you like are confident enough with it, you go there, you pick up the trophy, you act like you're moving it somewhere that it needs to go, right? And you just end up like walking right out the door with it.
Dude,
Yeah, but if you
are you saying like maybe that it was like an accidental heist?
No. I'm saying the guy meant to take it, but I'm just saying, you know, you do anything with enough confidence, you make it seem like nobody's gonna question you
Yeah,
walking out with the
true.
trophy,
True.
right? They're like, oh,
I
this
won
guy's
this
like
trophy,
the
my
keeper
beer
of
league
the
championship trophy.
the keeper of the Illinois high school
Yeah,
hockey
true.
championship trophy. You
Also,
know?
like, did they have video surveillance of this guy? Did they not get a picture of his face? Like, if it was at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, like, did they not see what he looks like or anything?
He sabotaged the cameras. He had this all planned out, man. I'm sure he's a professional there.
What was the motive too? Like, what did he want with it?
Well, apparently nothing, because he dropped it off at Gunzo's like the next day or 2 days later.
Was he like under? I wonder, was he under the influence? Like, it's 4 p.m. I mean, early start.
Yeah, there's got to be more to this, man. Nobody
Yeah.
just does that for no reason. There has to be some sort of motive.
That's also
Yeah.
not like if I saw somebody walking around with that, I wouldn't be like, hey, that's a super prestigious trophy. That just kind of looks like anything. Like, you could have a trophy that looks just like that for a dodgeball tournament, you know?
Yeah, that's great, man. Only in Illinois high school scene, man. You'll hear all sorts of wild and wacky tales.
Yeah, we got
I
the
would
picture
know.
of the trophy right here. Leaving it outside Gunzo's is a pretty funny move.
Yeah, yeah. What's the deal there? That's a power move there. Maybe they just really wanted the great people of Gunsos to have it. I don't know, in their display shelf there. I don't know. Who knows? Yeah.
The Illinois High School Hockey Championship goes down this Sunday, actually,
Oh.
at the United Center. Raven, can
Who's
you
in
look
it?
up? I don't know. I was going to ask Raven, can you look up who's playing in it while we're.
It's probably Loyola versus Detroit again. Yeah,
I,
probably.
I'll do some research too. But yeah,
Yeah.
I thought that was too funny of a story to not bring up, especially on a show called Chicago Hockey Radio.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
no,
know.
it's topical for sure. Yeah, that doesn't happen every day. I mean, there's old stories of the Stanley Cup getting stolen all the time, and players like losing it, like dropping it off in rivers and stuff. It's pretty crazy. So I guess it's happening with trophies across all the sphere there. Yeah.
Oh, this is like a grown. They have the picture. The AHAI Hockey posted the picture that they have. This is a grown man walking out with the trophy.
It's almost like he wanted to recapture his glory days of maybe he won that trophy at one point. Who knows? He just wanted to experience what that was like again.
What are the comments on that?
The comments on the post here,
Yeah.
I'll look through.
Maybe he's the parent of like the losing team there, so he's trying to steal the trophy
This post
from the
has
team.
3,000 likes on it. First of all,
Yeah, that's like Bjork Beams level of territory.
I saw this guy walk out with it. He had on a black cap, black jacket, blue jeans, and black boots. Hope this helps.
I just said exactly what was in the picture.
The comments, quote, "If my son can't have it, then no one can."
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, like a
that's probably what
salty dad.
Dude, hockey parents are nuts. They will do whatever it takes, man. Like some of the games we played in Holy Jumping, like they'll do anything, man. They'll do anything for their kids.
It was his day. It was his day with the cup, and so he just wanted it. That's all.
Some of these
There you
comments are
go.
funny. $1 million and I give it back. It was me. I have the trophy. It's so shiny and awesome. You're never getting this back. Y'all wish you could get this back. Got it right up next to my bedstand. Yes, I purchased this trophy off of Craigslist.
My goodness gracious, that's great.
I believe I have the matchup for Sunday. It is between New Trier and then in brackets Green
Yeah.
and Bennett.
Okay.
Oh, no Loyola, thank God. Okay, but it's always Trier's always there, man. It's they're the kings of Illinois high school hockey. It's always them and Loyola. Mike Ignatius, they gotta catch up, man. But they're getting better over there. That's the me effect, right? Yeah.
This is pretty interesting, man. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's
that's funny.
insane.
That's a fun
Yeah.
story.
That's a
fun
story of all time,
It
right
now
there.
it
Yeah.
kind of makes the trophy a little legendary. Dare I say?
It's got some lore. It's
Yeah,
got
it's got
a
history.
story behind it. It's not just any dump of a trophy. Like that means something now, man. Yeah,
In
people are gonna want that a lot more now.
2025, it was stolen for 5 hours. You know.
Yeah, that's a coveted trophy, man. No, not just anybody can win the Illinois championship trophy, high school.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's a lot of like Illinois dads commenting on this post.
It's
you
like
know?
a Blue
Illinois
Mountain.
dads or
It's
something
like a
else.
Blue
Yeah.
Mountain State situation. Like,
What a pull! Oh, I love that show, man. Thad Castle, the legend. You hear they might be bringing back Blue Mountain State?
They
You
are,
hear
I
about
think.
that?
and they're all
Yeah.
50 years old. And
I don't know it's gonna be remasters like years after the fact don't tend to go well. So we'll see how it plays out. But that's a legendary show. I love that stuff.
Okay. Yeah, so that was one funny story. The other funny story that I had was the one that I'm sure a lot of people that are on hockey Instagram or Twitter saw. Did you guys see the American Hockey League GM that traded his son for future considerations?
Okay, there has to be something more to that. Like his son must have done something. There must be some family drama going on there. Because who the hell trades their son for future
he needed,
consideration?
he needed a change of scenery.
Yeah, like
The
everybody.
stats aren't good, but imagine the next dinner at that family there. That's gotta be awkward as heck. If I'm the son, I know business is business, but you're not getting forgiven for that. Like, I'm sorry, at least trade me for another player. Like future considerations, that's nothing. You're trading me for nothing. Like, dude.
I think those comments are a little bit blown out of proportion. The family dinner is going to be awkward. Like he may have wanted to be traded. Like he may have wanted more of an opportunity to go play somewhere, play for a better team. You know, like
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah.
I don't think it's that deep.
It's still funny. Like, has that ever happened? Like, I'm sure it's happened. But like, not like something like that. Future considerations. But I did look at his stats though. They're not really. There's not much to say there. So maybe there's something to be said for that. Maybe you just need a change of scene. How many times have we said change of scenery on this show today? That's been like the topic of the show. We should rename it Change of Scenery Pod.
We are change of scenery merchants.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, the kid probably wanted the trade, you'd imagine. Like, I doubt the dad was just like, no, I hate you. Get out of here.
Oh, maybe it was a little awkward. Maybe he didn't want to play for his dad's organization. I don't know. Yeah, maybe he just needed to separate himself there. Separation of church from state. I don't know. Like sometimes you gotta do that. Yeah.
Yeah, the separation of church and state between
That
his
made zero
AHL
sense.
GM and his son.
Family, I don't know.
Family separation of family and business.
That's what I meant. Yeah,
Yeah,
like sometimes family
No,
and
and you-
business it
you kinda
doesn't work
cooked with
out.
that.
Right?
You cooked with
You know what
that.
I mean? You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Right?
absolutely.
Like that's weird. Like there's always this coach's son dynamic too that was always awkward.
Yeah.
Like you just can't have that. You got to do your own thing.
Yeah, that could create a rift in the locker room. You know,
Yes,
they might be
correct.
like, "Oh, this guy's just here because his dad's the GM."
Nepotism.
Yep.
Like Lance Stroll in Formula One was dad Lawrence owns a team $1 billion and he gets to partner with Fernando Alonso. Like that's the way that works. Yeah.
This is a business, man. Like, I don't know. It's not that big of a deal.
No, I know it's funny
Yeah.
though.
It is funny though. Which is a funnier story.
The trophy getting
Illinois, you
stolen.
can't beat that. You cannot beat the Illinois high school championship trophy getting stolen. That's the story of the day. Why aren't the big accounts posting about that? I think that's better than that story.
I don't know why. Like nobody was really talking about that.
Like seriously, that's a big deal. Like how is that not getting traction? I don't know. Yeah,
No.
well maybe it will now. We'll get a traction. Yeah.
Okay. Aiden Hill, 6-year extension with the Vegas Golden Knights this morning. That is the hockey news of the day. The goalie market for the summer is looking a little thin now, in my opinion. $37.5 million for the big netminder Team Canada backup, an AAV of 6.25. Just posted a shutout last night against the Columbus Blue Jackets. And I found this kind of interesting too. 5th member of the Vegas Golden Knights to sign an extension this year that was a pending UFA. Shea Theodore, Brett Howden, Braden McNabb, and Keegan Colasar.
Yeah, they're keeping some of those Cup core members together. Like he was the guy for them back in 23, right? He was just good enough, and he's definitely been. You compare him to Ilya Samsonov, it's night and day. I mean, there's a little. I mean, like Aiden Hill's a good goaltender, right? He was, an option for Team Canada. He's 6.25, probably a little more than he's worth. But look, like it better him than Samsonov. He's your guy, so fair enough. And that's a good enough team where you don't need an elite goaltender. You just need a good starter, and he's kind of that. So. Vegas, I guess it makes sense in their perspective.
Yeah, exactly. Like they've done it before with him.
Yeah.
Give him the extension. It's one less thing to worry about. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's more the ramifications for the goalie market. If he's making 6.25, then that's definitely going to raise that price for others. Yeah.
But that seems to be sort of the going rate for a guy like that. Like I remember the Mackenzie Blackwood extension that he got in Colorado was like 5 times 5.5 or 5.25, something like that. There was another goalie that was locked up too, like that, right? Lankinen, yeah, we talked about that one earlier.
Yeah, his numbers were like, what was it, like 4 million something? I don't know, it was less than that, I think. Yeah.
I think, something like that.
I think it was like something like 5 by 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like these guys are good, but I don't know if they're, in that range, but that's kind of what you got to do. You got to pay a little bit of goalies. Makes sense. Yeah.
I'm trying to see
also,
what they're...
it's like, that's not overpaying anymore. Like where the cap's going, that's not overpaying.
Fair.
So.
Fair. Yeah. Yeah. Fair. Yeah.
Now I'm looking at their roster. Yeah, they're not really going to have a lot of business to take care. Riley Smith and Brendan Saad, I assume, are rentals.
Yeah, you would think. Yeah.
Nick Hague is an RFA this summer. So that's something that's probably going to need to get done here. But I don't know. You could probably get him at a pretty good number, I would assume.
He's a guy who's been around there, so you would think they'd probably extend him for cheap. Yeah. And those other guys are probably gone. Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody's asking, like, where does Vegas get all this money from?
They find it LTIR. There you go. They figure it out, man. That's what they do there. The money laundering kings over there. Yeah.
Right now, with the salary cap going to be $95.5 million, they have $85 million tied up right now for next season. So that's pretty crazy, actually, that they're going to have $10 million to work with this summer too, to get like, even if Nick Hague comes in at $4 million, you still have $6 million to make your roster better if you're Vegas.
Man, I envy them over there, man. They just figured out they're cutthroat, man. It's nobody operates like a business more than Vegas, man. There's no relationships there. It's like you are an asset to the operation, and look, it's paid off for them. I mean, every year they're in the playoffs. I think they missed once, due to injuries. They're kind of out of their control. Otherwise, they're always in the mix. They're always contending, and they've done. You can't help but admire what they've done over there. I know everybody loves to hate on Vegas, me included. I hate Vegas, probably the team I hate the most right now. But look, they're successful, and I hate them when you hate them, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, where does the hate come from for Vegas? Like, I don't really get it. Like, wouldn't you want your team to operate that way?
No, I think it's just the way that they came in. Like a lot of expansion teams come in, like every fan base has to go through a struggle, right? I think it's just the fact that they've never had to do it. It's not necessarily the hate for them as much as the fact that it's envy, it's jealousy more than anything, right? I mean, imagine being a Sabres fan the last 13 years and seeing this team, come into the league right away and be in contention every single year. I'm sure it probably pisses them off. So yeah, I think it's just the fact they never had to struggle as an expansion team. They've just always been competitive. But that's on them. They made the right picks and they've been making the right decisions since then. So we'll see how long this contention window lasts. I think every time people start to write them off, they extend the window. So we'll see. Yeah.
Man, like thinking back to that expansion draft, like I remember where I was watching the expansion draft for Vegas and thinking, man, like this team's gonna stink.
That's what everybody thought. That was the narrative. They won 50 games and nearly won the cup their first season. Like that's kind of crazy. I think that was the summer of Ovi year that they ran the Capitals. But Bill Foley said it'll take us 6 years to win a cup, and they got it in year 6. So they still accomplished the goal there. Yeah.
I just like the fact that they were able to catch GMs like
napping
and like guys who wanted to hang on to their like. They got Shea Theodore to like take on the contract of like Clayton Stoner or something like that.
Yeah, Marchessault is a big catch too. Like a lot of these guys who kind of been okay in their prior organizations, but never really got a fair shot. And they'd be able to put in these roles in Vegas and thrive and kind of reach these players' potentials. Yeah.
The downfall of the Penguins in my mind was picking Matt Murray over Marc-Andre Fleury and letting Flower walk to Vegas for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like that guy had a Vezina trophy in him still.
Yeah,
right.
That was a miss, and I'm sure Crosby and Malkin probably didn't love that either. A lot of that group, Letang,
yeah, and they I don't want to say they hit on their draft picks, right? Because like Eric Brandstrom was kind of a bust, but like who were the guys they drafted? And it was like
in 2017, Nick Suzuki, and who was the other one?
Brandstrom,
it was like Cody Glass or something.
Oh, it was Cody Glass.
Yeah, it was those three, and then now they'll see how it happened. They went elsewhere, but it's like they've been able to use the assets they've got, right? I mean, if you're a draft pick of Vegas, you're probably not going to play for Vegas. You're going to be used to acquire established pieces. Like no team uses those types of draft capitals as assets more than they do. So they made it work. And we'll see how long it lasts.
It'll be interesting to see what they do with Eichel in 26, 27, because he's a UFA. He's going to be 30 years old. Is he going to want like an 8-year deal?
Probably.
He's been a great fit there. He's playing the best hockey of his career. I mean, in terms of two-way players, you could argue he's maybe after Barkov, he's maybe the best in the game from that perspective right now. You can make the argument there. So, in terms of a 1C come playoff time, like that's exactly what you want. He's very Jonathan Tate. He's different from Jonathan Tate, but I see some similarities to his game.
Absolutely,
so that's a guy you want in the trenches come playoff time. So you got to think he's going to command a price. It'll be hard for them to hold on to him.
You win Stanley Cups with first-line centers like that.
Yeah, like the Jack Eichels. Yeah, for sure.
To be fair, that summer that Jack Eichel is up, they will have $32.6 million in cap space.
Like every time you think it's going to be a problem, it's like, they actually have a ton of. It begs the question that you bring up. It's like, how do they just keep making this work, man? Well, a magician doesn't reveal their tricks. I'm sure they won't. So they're finding a way to make it happen. You gotta give them credit for it.
Yeah. And Jack Eichel that year really is their only big fish to sign. So the people saying that like he's gonna lead, like that's not.
No. Yeah.
Is it Trevor always saying that? Like didn't he like put something in the Discord?
They're gonna
trust me, guys. They're gonna they'll find a way. You don't lose a guy like Jack Eichel for nothing at least.
Yeah. Agreed. What else do we have here? Patrick Kane, 5-point game.
Yeah, absolute cinnamon, man. Showtime. 5-point game in the Big 2025. His career high was 6. He got that 3 years ago at the Hawks against the Ducks a few years back. But man, it's like the Unk still got it. Unk still got it. That second line, that Casper DeBrincat Kane line was cooking against. I mean, it was the Sabres, so that's something to be said for that. But Kaner, when he sees his hometown team, like he's prime Kane resurrects, man. It was fun to watch that. So a little too late. I mean, the Wings, they snap a 6-game losing streak, win 7-3, but it does feel like they're gonna have to go on a run here then this season. And they have a bit of a tough schedule coming up here. I think I looked at strength of schedule, and they have amongst
the hardest. They have the
hardest in the NHL. So good luck with that. I think it's gonna be tough for them, but it's nice to see Kane still cooking here, but probably gonna be another year without playoff hockey. But he's just showing he's still got it, which is good to see for him. Yeah.
Yeah, seeing Patrick Kane like celebrate emphatically makes me a little aroused.
Oh yeah, it's tough though. It's always bittersweet seeing him do that. And other team's jersey, and it is a 1-year contract. His term is up there, so it's not going to happen. But I could always keep throwing it out there. If KD ever wants to change his mind. Yeah.
Who played? Who's the goalie in that game for the Red Wings too?
Peter Mrazek.
Peter.
Yeah, he looked all right. He was making big saves. That's what he does. Like Mrazek, say what you will about Peter, he's not consistent. He's Mr. Entertainment. You always bring the action. And he can make those big saves. He's athletic. Not very technical, but he made it work. The Red Wings, he's as good as they need to be. But he's not going to save them, But definitely, I'm sure he's happy to be back.
They got Carolina tonight in Carolina, so a bit different from the Sabres.
I don't know, though. He always plays well against the Hurricanes. That's another former team of his, so we'll see. But you're probably right. They're probably going to get cooked, but we'll see.
The Red Wings did this last year.
Yep.
Like they had a really, really good run, and then the wheels fell off the bus.
And then they started figuring it out at the end of the year, but it was too little, too late. End. They literally lost that in a tiebreaker to the Capitals. So.
Yeah, in the last game, I forgot who it was against.
But the Canadians.
Yeah, and they scored with just a couple seconds left on the clock to tie it and send it to overtime. And then
Flyers,
Kane actually won it in a shootout, but they had already figured out that they were eliminated before he had the shootout. So
that was an angry Kane there. He took it personally. He just put it in fuck it. I want to go out with a W.
That sucks so much. That would have been one of the cooler moments of Kane's career had they not been eliminated for that. For him to clutch up and win the shootout would have been insane.
And that's the thing of Kane. He is clutch. He might not be, he might not be Crosby, he might not be Ovechkin, but nobody has the clutch team of Kane come playoff time, man. I know that wasn't the playoffs, but it was that type of a game. He shows up at the big moments. It would have been nice if a certain country would have noticed that in that little tournament we had a few weeks ago, but that's another story. Yeah.
Here's the Red Wings' upcoming schedule. In Carolina tonight, then they have Vegas on Sunday, then the Capitals, Golden Knights again, Utah, Colorado, Ottawa, Boston, St. Louis, Carolina again, the Florida Panthers, Montreal Canadiens, Florida Panthers, Tampa Bay Lightning, Dallas Stars, New Jersey Devils, Toronto Maple Leafs. Yeah,
they're not making the playoffs. There's no Blackhawk Sharks in there, so good luck.
They're done. Yeah. They're toast.
Yeah, they're cooked. Yeah. I do wonder what happens to Kane though. He signed the 1 year and then he extended for another year. I know he loves playing with DeBrincat. Detroit's he's got connections there. I know he enjoys playing there, but it's I don't know, this team. It's I know there's still more guys in the arsenal. They're waiting on Kosa, they're waiting on Danielson, Sandin Pellikka, guys like that. It's not over from that perspective. They got more guys coming, but it's do you really think this team is, even next year is going to make the playoffs? It's if you want to, contend to end your career here, it's he's very close to 500 goals. He's close to that U.S. points record. Do you think he's going to stick with Detroit? Do you think he moves on? What's going to happen with Kaner? Yeah.
I could see him staying there. I think he's just going to extend and finish his career there, honestly.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I'd prefer him to leave and go to a contender and just so I can see him in the playoffs again. But I think he's going to finish it out there.
Just so they could keep those all those posts going with his son, Patrick Kane III, and Archie DeBrincat, so they can keep that friendship going, right? Yeah. I think DeBrincat's a guy who loves playing with so much he'll stay with them just so he can keep playing. They have such a connection with each other. They're actually playing with each other now. He has 31 points his last 25 games since McClellan took over as coach. He's back. That's 90-point pace. So now they got a proper coach there, and they have pieces here. It's not like they don't have anything. So the eyes are planned. It's gotta. You think it's gotta play out eventually. So maybe.
What do you need to get? What do they do? If they were in on top, they were in on Dylan Cousins.
Yeah. That would have been big. That would, I think, because like Tarasenko, they brought him in thinking he'd be another piece there. That has not panned out. Like it's not worked out. I think Cousins would have been another nice. They're missing something in that top six. I think Cousins could have filled that. They need some like a tier 2 type of player like that. Maybe they'll be in a guy like Besser. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It just, first of all, they keep getting screwed over by the Ottawa Senators. Like they were in on Olmark, goes to Ottawa. They were in on Cousins, goes to Ottawa. Like,
Yeah. At least they got Cat. Yeah.
yeah, but they didn't get him this summer, man. Like,
Yeah, that was a while back. Yeah, that was free agency. Yeah.
I think this decor is really the most shocking thing to me.
Yeah. It's
Like,
not
they
very
got
good.
Sider, they got Edmondson, but then after that, there's a steep drop off. But
Here
they
are
got
the
some
other
guys
four-
in the wings.
Here are the other four: Ben Sherratt, Albert Johansson, Eric Gustafson, Justin Hall.
That's got to be
not
the
good enough.
worst, like bottom four. Like that might be the worst. Like I think ours is better than that. But they got some guys. They got Sandeep Pellick on the wings, so better hope he shows up soon. Yeah.
That's okay. They gave a second-round pick to the Sharks to take Jake Wallman, who they then flipped for a first. So,
That was a
really good
trade,
asset
I think.
management. Really
Yeah, and I
good.
think the goaltending situation, like they haven't had a guy there. Like Alex Lyon has put together good stretches, but like
Cam Talbot's been pretty good this season.
Yeah, and
They
like, Razek's not going to save you.
yeah.
No,
Yeah, they got Gustin too, Trey Gustin and Kosa. So they got two good goaltenders in the wings there. But are they going to be ready next year? I don't know. Yeah. For now, the goaltending's mid, the defense is mid. Until some of these last prospects show up, they're kind of in a waiting game right now.
They need they really do need help like everywhere. They need like another top six piece.
Another top four guy, and then a proper goaltender at least to wait for these guys to show up. Yeah.
you think if his name wasn't Steve Yzerman, he would be way more on the hot seat than he currently is?
Yeah, I think the fact that he's a legend of that organization, right? The fact that he helped build those Tampa teams, like he is kind of riding off his past coattails right now, because in the recency he hasn't really done much of anything lately. But he's Steve Yzerman, right? So a lot of the fans have that faith in him. So we'll see. We'll see if it
I
pans out.
definitely do think that like Dylan Larkin is a first line center that you can win a Stanley Cup with.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't really get enough credit. I mean, I think he finally got some flack, some stick taps in the Four Nations. I think people finally noticed like how good this guy is, those big moments. He's never really had those types of games in his career. He played in 5 playoff games his rookie year, and they've never been back since. So he's never really been in those situations in his career, which you kind of feel for him there. But I do think when they get there, that's a guy you're going to want. He's a complete player. He's quick. He's fast. Guy does a little bit of everything. Sometimes has trouble staying healthy, but when he's on, he's on. A little inconsistent, but when he's on, he's a good player. Yeah.
That's awesome. I'm checking the internet right now. Ted Lasso is set to return with season 4. So for all of our Ted Lasso lovers out there, that is big breaking news.
No, that's a show that's on my list, but I haven't
You gotta do it, dude. You gotta do it. You just gotta do it.
I'll get there eventually. I put things in my list, and I kind of forget to check them for a while, but they'll eventually get.
I wouldn't recommend things to you guys that aren't worth it.
I've also never seen it, and it's just because I've never had Apple TV, so.
I'll give you my Apple TV. You can watch it. I have Apple TV for the sole purpose of going back and rewatching Ted Lasso.
That's it.
That's it.
If
That's
the
the
show's
only
that
thing-
good, we'll get something just for that show. Then it must be decent. Yeah.
That's the only reason I watch, or the only reason I pay for it. I'm not a big Severance guy or whatever. So.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll have to circle back on it at some point. Yeah.
What else? Max Domi, that fight.
That was epic, dude. I mean, I love it was his father Ty was in attendance, and just the blankest expression, like not even a reaction. I mean, he probably, he's trying to hide his smile. I'm sure inside he was a very proud father there, but he probably expects that though out of Max. I mean, you better hope he's a good fighter when that's your dad. So, well, no, he showed out. I mean, who was the guy who put an absolute chokehold there again?
Nate Schmidt.
Nate Schmidt, that's right. Yeah, he made him look silly. So I don't think he'll be participating in any more fights for at least a while in the future. They're kind of got embarrassed.
Yeah, he got thrown around. He just got ragdolled and then it was like 6 seconds. He ragdolled him, had a bunch of uppercuts, and then just went straight to the box. It was pretty hard.
Steve Dangle.
Jason
Steve
Dickinson
Dangle
saw that and took notes. Yeah, sorry, my bad.
No, I said Steve Dangle said he beat the Schmidt out of him.
And I think I would assume it was for Domi absolutely leveled Verhaeghe earlier in the game, and I think that's probably what it was for. But he leveled Verhaeghe.
Yeah,
so.
that was probably supposed to be a response, but it got a little more than he bargained for there. Yeah.
And he scored a pretty sick goal too.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't really been a great season for Max compared to his first season. It was decent, but this year's kind of teetered off. But when he's useful, man, like he could be a good kind of X factor type of player. So, I mean, that's a guy. I mean, it just works there. Max Domi in Toronto, like it just makes sense. So
He's going to take a stupid penalty in the playoffs.
Or
Yeah,
he's
now
going
that I said
to
that,
score a big goal.
he's the type of guy that would do that. You would think.
I can just see him taking a bad penalty against the Florida Panthers and them just like burying one that like changes the course of a game,
The Leafs always have a player like that. I feel like a couple of time it does something stupid and it costs them. Hopefully it's not Max, Blackhawks legend. Yeah.
Dougie Hamilton out for the rest of the regular season with the Devils. They can't catch a break.
Yeah, how many season-ending injuries this guy had? It feels like it's like inevitable, but yeah, the Devils. I mean, if they weren't already cooked, which they were, they're even more cooked than previously thought possible. They're overcooked right now, so yeah, they're kind of screwed.
What if they win the first round and like shock everyone?
I mean, who would they be playing right now? Let's see.
Carolina.
I mean, I don't think that's completely out of the realm of possibility, actually, because I think Carolina's. I know their record's good, but I don't really believe in them anymore come playoff time. I mean, they've kind of been there, done that. I don't know if they have, that the game doesn't tend to translate those moments. So
Devils beat Oilers last night. I don't know.
Yeah, I will say those Oilers, man. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm sure it'll be a different team come playoff time, but they're definitely showing more kinks in the armor this year than past years. I know Oilers fans aren't feeling as confident going into it this year. Yeah.
Yeah, Lee's still super high on the Oilers.
Yeah, I don't know how you could not be like
every time they keep losing these games.
Yeah, man. But every time I watch them, it's like when 97-29 are on the ice, it's just like they always look like they're about to score a goal.
They can win games by themselves. Like not a lot of teams could say they have players.
And like I'm sorry, are you telling me at this point in the season, like after the Four Nations and everything, you got playoffs coming up, you're having LA in the first round, nothing's really going to change. You really worried that Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl aren't really getting up for these games against like the Devils or who else have they lost to recently? The Ducks.
They lost to the Sabres the other day.
Yeah, dude, I'm not. When I see that, I don't think, oh no, this team might not be good. They're losing to these bad teams. They don't care. They played Dallas. They sat up in their chair. They gripped the controller and they won the game. Like I don't know.
Hockey can be random, man. Like you'll just see games like that occasionally. More so than other sports. Yeah.
I just like when I look at that team. I don't think they really got much worse from last year. I think they can absolutely go all the way again.
As usual, like if they do have a downfall, it's going to come through the goaltending, and that'll be Stan Bowman's fault because he could have addressed that, but chose not to because he's Stan Bowman, and he's going through some things right now as well, man.
Oh boy. All right, you wanted to do a little Calder Trophy update.
Yeah, sure. Lane Hudson, the first rookie to 50 points. That's right, Lane Hudson, not Macklin Celebrini. And he's a defenseman outpacing Selly. Not only that, he's fourth in production in the league amongst defensemen. Only Cale Makar, Quinn Hughes, and Zach Werenski have more points than Lane Hudson. Like, that's pretty shocking when I saw that. So I don't know. Everybody likes to say Macklin Calderbrini, but I think Lane Hudson's my guy there. Good American boy, good Illinois kid too. Lane Hudson for Calder. That's my pick for no biased reasons whatsoever there. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't sense any bias at all in what you were saying.
No, not at all. I mean, definitely, there's definitely nobody I want to see win the Calder there. So he's now about the Brock, like what Brock Faber was to Wild fans last year is what Lane Hudson is to me this year. I want to see him take it from Macklin. So hopefully we'll see Wi-Fi over here is probably why.
You want to maybe turn your laptop off the Wi-Fi?
It looks like we are back, boys.
Oh, okay.
That's Lee's fault. I'm sorry. Yeah.
It's not my fault. I do this every single day. Sometimes the Wi-Fi is just not ideal.
Well, that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes.
Macklin Celebrini is going to win the Calder Trophy. I don't like. Even if he gets injured for the rest of the year, they'd give it to him. I think.
Yeah. What a bunch of woke nonsense,
that.
Dude. The NHL. I think trophies in situations like this. You want to Macklin Celebrini. That's an opportunity to build up a potential future superstar.
Well, yeah, I mean the Sharks. They definitely have the best media team in the business over there. So definitely wouldn't shock me if Celebrini won it. No, in all seriousness, I know I've been slandering him a lot. Look, I do it for a reason. Like Celebrini is a genuine fantastic player. Like he's had a better rookie year than I think I expected. Pretty comparable to Bedard's rookie year, and you know what? You gotta give him a lot of credit for that. Like I think he's a worthy opponent. Like if anything, it excites me because I think Bedard versus Celebrini. I think it has all the potential to be one of the next great rivalries in the NHL. Friendly rivalries because they're clearly buddies, but we'll see how long that lasts. I think when they meet up in the playoffs, we'll see how that goes there. But I think these two, man, like this could have Crosby Ovi potential. Maybe you can't emulate that. Like nothing can top that. But this could be the closest thing to that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch, and I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to watch more of it. Yeah,
It'll be even better when the Hawks get Gavin McKenna next year too.
It's bad bait. It's bad bait at this point. It doesn't even
Top draft -1 seasons in the CHL over the last 25 years. Sidney Crosby, 2.29 points per game. Gavin McKenna, 2.12 points per game. John Tavares, and even 2 points per game. Connor Bedard, 1.77 points per game.
Yeah, well, whoever gets him, well, they could throw them. You could throw them in that discussion too. Bedard versus Celebrini versus McKenna. Yeah, that's the next. That's the next Ovechkin, Crosby, Kane right there. There you go.
If he doesn't go to Chicago, I think he's going to go to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's already written in stone there. Like I think I said a while back too. It's like they always happen to Lemieux, Crosby, McKenna. Like it always works out over there in Pittsburgh, you know. So they always got to have that generational player to keep them out of bankruptcy. So I'm sure it'll happen.
Yeah, my Calder pick is Dustin Wolf, but he's not going to win it. But if Calgary makes the playoffs, like I don't know how you don't like, especially since the turn of the calendar for 2025. Dustin Wolf has been one of the best goalies in the National Hockey League. Like,
oh yeah, I mean he's the reason I think probably the biggest reason why they're in that playoff spot right now. If they do make the playoffs, like. I mean, there might not be. There's the best rookie award. You could argue there should be the most valuable rookie award because we're come down to the most valuable. I think it would be Dustin Wolf.
MVR, most valuable rookie. You know the Calgary Flames.
Yeah.
You know the Calgary Flames are dead last in the NHL in goals per game. 32 out of 32.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, Lee, what do you have to say about that?
I knew they were going to be bad. I guess I didn't know Wolf was going to be the MVR.
The MVR.
Yeah. Get that. They should get a Dustin Wolf tattoo next to the Flames tattoo. There.
Stop
it. Just like a wolf, like the sea, the flaming sea, and then a wolf in the middle of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that would look super cool.
I don't think it would actually.
I don't. Nice. I think that would. That's like the antithesis of everything I stand for.
Wolf has just been so good. I wouldn't hate to see Lane Hudson get it. Like I think he should get it. This kid's a superstar. He's probably been better than Celebrini too. Yes. I mean the injuries to Celebrini I think are probably gonna lean more in his favor actually because you're like gonna, you know, Lane Hudson will have played the full season where Macklin Celebrini will have, you know, done it in a shortened time frame. Yeah, I don't know. This is probably the best Calder race we've seen in a while because it genuinely, I think, could be any three of those guys.
Yeah.
I agree with you that, like, the voters are probably going to lean more Celebrini than anything else because the narrative with Lane Hudson is he's bad defensively, which just isn't true. Like, I hear a lot of Montreal people say this, so maybe take it with a grain of salt. But, like, when you consider how much Lane Hudson plays, the time on ice, how much he hangs onto the puck, like, having defensive lapses isn't that extreme when you're playing as much as he is. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like everybody.
You're having the Montreal Canadiens too. Like this isn't Evan Bouchard here. Like I don't know.
Woof.
Yeah.
We could do a whole podcast about Evan Bouchard. I feel like.
Yeah, that'd be great. Really gripping.
I'm sure a certain Instagram meme page would love that.
All right, fellas. Anything else for this weekend? Mikko Rantanen playing in Colorado for the first time.
Oh, yeah. Fun. Is it Landeskog take him out to dinner to kind of air it all out? So I'm sure. Gosh. If anything, I know. Is there a fly in the room there? Because I'd love to be that fly. I'm sure that'll be an interesting dinner.
I still like. What is he going to air out? Like, hey, they traded you and you didn't get to really talk about your contract anymore and didn't want to go there.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Mikko Rantanen apologist over here.
I mean, what are we doing? Blaming guys for something they had no control over? Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, big ego over there. Yeah.
I think there are reports on Colorado Twitter that the plan is to boo Mikko Rantanen on Saturday.
I've seen that. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised.
How do you guys feel about that?
That's corny.
I think it's fair. I think it's. I can't
You
blame
do?
them. No, I think that's completely fair. Yeah, maybe I'm in the minority here, but it's like if I were in that situation, I'd be pissed off too. I can't blame them.
With the information that we've been given about the situation,
Sorry, they play Sunday, not Saturday.
with the information we've been given about the situation, what are you still doing blaming Mikko Rantanen as an Avs fan?
Yeah.
What are you upset about?
Loyalty to your teammates, loyalty to
What
McKinnon.
does that mean,
No,
though?
McKinnon took a discount for years, so he could keep that core together there and win championships. Some things mean more than a little bit of extra money at the table.
Oh my God,
That's not true, actually, because
Justin,
when
these guys,
Nathan McKinnon signed that contract, that was a fair deal at that point. It was only like a couple of years in that became the steal of the decade.
All right, now keep apologizing for Mikko over there. Yeah,
they gave him a slap in the face offer. He said no. They
he barely got more than Dallas. Got pennies compared, barely anything of an increase.
But this
all that drama for nothing.
Justin, he won a Stanley Cup for the fucking franchise. What are you talking about?
That's awesome. Yeah, fantastic. Great.
Dude, his contract was like $1 million more than the Kane and Tays contract from whatever 2015.
Yeah, we're talking 12 billion versus 11.5 billion. Big deal. Like, what are we talking about?
Oh my gosh! Oh, compounded over 8 years, like
plus the
you win
tax.
that extra
Justin,
500,000, man! Holy shit!
You're a
yeah, they could get extra car.
You're so ridiculous. You are a stud on a team for several years. You're a top 10 player in the NHL. You win a team a Stanley Cup, and they come over and try to nickel and dime you. What the fuck are we talking about? That sucks. That would piss me off. I don't know how any blame can be on Mikko Rantanen in that situation. Like, take care of your guys. What just happened? Man. What just happened with fucking Leon Draisaitl? How much money is he making? He didn't win a Stanley Cup. He hasn't won a Stanley Cup.
I don't know. Whatever, man.
I think it's completely just out of touch to blame Mikko Rantanen for the situation. We know that he was caught off guard by the trade. He did not see it coming. They didn't talk to him about it beforehand. They traded him without him knowing, and then he was in a market playing for a team he had no desire to go to or play to. He didn't want to extend there, and then he went to Dallas. He said, hey, there are 4 teams I want to go to. Here they are.
Yeah, 4 teams out of 32 there. Yeah, no, it's definitely a big team guy there. Yeah.
What do you want? So like, what do you want him to do? Just take $8 million a year and just shut up and play hockey? Like what?
Yeah, I'm glad the third team there worked out there for him. I'm glad he's in the perfect position there. So yeah, I'm definitely cheering for him over there. Yeah.
It's just such a weird thing to be like.
It just doesn't seem to have that. Like I talk about this all the time, man. It doesn't seem to have that hockey mentality, man. I don't know. Like,
he won a Stanley Cup.
I don't know. I mean, it's something. I just think some things should be more than a bit of extra money on the table. I don't know. That's just me. Yeah.
The thing about the money in the NHL is, and in pro sports in general, is it's an ego thing more than it is actually about the dollars. You get what I'm saying here? Like it is a competition in the room a little bit. Maybe more internal than external, obviously, but like, if, how do you think you feel if you're Kiefer Sherwood on the Vancouver Canucks basically producing at the same rate as Elias Pettersson, who's making 11 times what you're making? You know what I'm saying? Like that, that weighs on guys. Like that makes them feel a certain kind of way. Mikko Rantanen has a higher points per game in the playoffs than Nathan McKinnon. Like,
he's not better than Nathan McKinnon.
No, he's not. But he is one of the best playoff performers of this generation.
Too. He thinks he should be making more than McKinnon. I know the cap's gone up and the market changes, but I don't think he should be making more than Nathan McKinnon.
I don't think so either.
But you don't have to offer him over $1 million less.
That too.
I don't know. Again, like I don't know how many times I have to say it though. It's not like he got a much better situation there in Dallas. So I don't know.
Colorado did not care to re-sign him. They didn't. It didn't matter to them. Obviously.
And he really gave Carolina a great chance there too.
Carolina,
13 games. Sorry, like, I've already seen enough here. Colorado
did not care to extend him.
You said that.
Okay, that is what I said. Yeah. Like they.
If it was all about the money, then he would have just re-signed in Carolina. Then yeah, I don't know.
It wasn't. It was never just about the money. That's the
point
I'm
saying.
making.
Yeah.
So he got
now I'm confused. Yeah.
It's just I think it's so misguided. I think the slander is misguided. I think it should be
sure.
it should be on Colorado's management and Carolina's management. It's not on Miko.
I think blame is shared. I'm not saying it's all on Miko. I don't think you're just saying it's all on the teams here. But I think they act like you shouldn't share some blame here, though.
Guy won you a Stanley Cup. I think booing him is ridiculous.
I don't know, man. We'll see.
Funny chat. 500K is nothing to a monster meme account like B-Hawks memes.
Yeah.
I wish.
Yeah,
I don't know.
If you were making 500K for the next 8 years, I think you'd be pretty pumped about it.
I know, but it's nothing for these guys. For these dudes, it's nothing. I bet for me, like, I don't know what kind of logic is there. Whatever. Anyway, I don't know.
I want the players to make as much as they can. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
fair enough.
When we're talking about, like, they get paid by billionaires. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Screw those guys.
Yeah.
I don't know. We shouldn't be like nickel and diming Mikko Rantanen, is my opinion here. Like, give him.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't know. I just think it's this is something that separates the NHL from the other big dogs like the MLB and the NFL. We're making these big bucks. I mean, we make big bucks in NHL too, but it's not much compared to them. It's just different mentality here. It's we's, not I's. It seems like an I, not a we to me. I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm probably talking in circles right now. I don't know. Yeah.
All right, fellas. Anything else?
No, that's a good way to end it. I feel like. I mean, I think we could create a whole series of us just yapping about Mikko Rantanen in the last couple months. So, yeah, Hawks Canucks tomorrow, and hopefully Betsy can shut all the yapping up.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm interested to see if they do a Blackhawks player for the after hours on Sportsnet at the end of Hockey Night in Canada. That should be good.
Mm-hmm.
Hockey Night tomorrow is good. You got Battle of Ontario and then the Hawks Canucks. So that's a good set of hockey games tomorrow. I'm all amped up for that.
Hawks Canucks, clearly the game of the night. I think everybody's going to be up for that one. Yeah.
Yeah, good weekend of hockey. It is also not just conference championship week in college basketball, but it is conference championship week in hockey too. So we will be getting our field for the NCAA hockey tournament here soon. I'm pumped. I'm wearing my Michigan hat today, but I'm more of a Michigan State guy this year than a Michigan guy. Boston College looks really good. BU looks really good. It should be a ton. Minnesota looks really good too. So it's a good year for NCAA hockey. Like, this is going to be a good tournament. I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, Minnesota, I'm kind of like, it's like as much as I want to see him do well because Renzel and more on them, a part of me is like, it wouldn't be bad if they were really exit too, so the Hawks would get them sooner. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's true. All right. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram at Chicago Hockey Radio. Hit the thumbs up if you've made it to this point in the video. Make sure you've hit the thumbs up on this video and head over to our Spotify page. Leave a 5-star rating. Head over to our Apple Podcast page. Leave a 5-star rating and leave a comment with your 5-star rating on Apple. Neat feature. It allows you to do that. Apparently, Raven and I just found this out. You can leave comments under episodes on Spotify, and we had no idea. So we went back and some people were roasting us on Spotify.
Oh God! Oh no! Any good things to say?
I don't know. Not really, but
well, they can. I don't know.
It's okay.
Yeah, everybody has their opinions.
Everybody has their opinions. Exactly.
And I'm clearly not someone to take anything personally, right? I just don't really do that, right? Everything just kind of
never once
flies under the sun. Nothing riles me up, right?
Yeah, except for Mikko Rantanen taking $500,000 more than was previously offered to him. All right.
How dare he?
That's it. Thanks for sticking with us this week. Post-game show tomorrow night, and we'll be back Monday with the show. See everybody then.